Welcome to the show tonight. Tonight on the Tony Gomez Show, I have back in the studio. We're bringing it back live in the studio tonight. Right here to your left, Nathan McLain, and in the middle, Jerry Moore of Sweet Daddy are in the house tonight. How you guys doing?
All right, man. Great, thank you.
Good, guys. Thanks for coming out. I was at the House of Rock. Well, who isn't at the House of Rock? You know what I mean? They've been having a lot of things going on, and I was there for the Rock and Roll Flea Market last weekend, and of course, I see the flyers up for G's Given. So it's a yearly event going on, man. So I started thinking, damn, man. And I remember running into Jerry just at Dillo Fest, and it was a night at Dillo Fest. So I was thinking, man, I need to get Jerry on the show. And then it was like something was telling me. I saw the flyer, and I was like, G's Given. I need to get these guys in the show. But before the G's Given's coming up, talk about it and talk about some Sweet Daddy history and some music history. You know, the three of us go back a long ways to, I want to say, maybe the second or third generation of rockers here in Corpus. And I'm thinking maybe the first would be like Gadrons with Purple Mushroom,
Yeah.
right? And maybe the second being like
Zachary Thax, way back then. Sorry.
Wow, dude, that's a name I haven't heard before.
Oh yeah, Zachary Thax was like in the '60s and stuff.
Yeah.
Bubble Puppy.
Bubble Puppy for sure.
Well, then maybe we're more like the third.
Third or fourth.
Yeah, maybe third or fourth,
3.5,
right? You're exactly right.
We're middle school. We're not old school. We're not new school. We're middle school.
Middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've been blessed to see so much.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen a lot happen here in Corpus where things kind of just grew from nothing into something pretty badass. And we've all been a part of that. And we've all kind of, seen our friends be a big part of that as well. And I think that's kind of why we ended up doing what we do, is because we kind of wanted to do something kick-ass like we've seen other bands doing with our friends. And one thing kind of led to another, and we kind of are where we are now, lifers, man, doing this for decades.
Yeah.
You get trapped.
Are we looking at about 4 decades of jamming, right?
Almost. Well,
Nearly.
of jamming, yeah.
Right? Yeah,
easily,
because I'm hitting 54 this year.
Okay.
I started playing on a kid on 13.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I'm banging 41 years. Been singing for the past 30.
Mhm.
So it just feels like a real rich life, man.
Take that.
It is, man. Yeah.
I remember seeing you guys doing the Hershey squirts
Oh yeah.
with Chapo and the kid.
Formerly the Willies, yeah.
Former the Willies.
Yes.
Is that did Pedraza jam with you guys?
Yes.
I thought so.
He there was a time.
He said he might make it to the show.
Yeah, he might stop by.
Oh,
No,
good.
no,
It's a long story with that.
it's a very long story. That's another offshoot sub-chapter thing. But anyway, the Willies, Mike Titsworth. So I guess I'll go into sort of I'll try to compress because there's so much, But
yeah, I get it. Yeah, no,
I
right.
had my little garage band and
Right.
had a friend named Rick Ritas, and he was like, yeah, we tried to do a punk band. It was called The Fucked, and then we did change to Ground Zero, and then we there was another up and coming punk band called the Willies, right? And they were just getting started. They hadn't played a gig yet. Chris Chapel was in that band, right?
Okay.
And he was previously in Anchor Watt as the drummer, right?
That's right. Okay, that's the timeline.
Then there
So
was a
Anchor Watt
departure
formed,
there, right?
Then Willie's came next.
Right. Then there was a fight in between he and his brother.
Okay.
Fist fight. And so his brother quit. And then
Weren't they like in Salo?
Salo was another
shit.
thing with
I
Kenny,
remember
I
that.
think, was in that band.
Yeah.
And then Steve Chapa, right? And then
Steve played guitar.
Steve played guitar, right? And at one point, one of the iterations of the Willies was Steve Garcia, Possum.
Yes.
Steve Chapa came back,
Okay.
and then Steve Pedraza on guitar, right?
Okay.
And I was on vocals, right?
Yeah.
Possum was on bass.
Right. Possum was on bass, right? He moved over to
Okay.
bass, right?
Wow.
And so I got off guitar and moved over to lead vocals, but I wasn't doing that. When Aaron Gonzalez poured the beer, he just
Rest in
passed
peace.
about a year ago.
Oh, Aaron, rest in
Or
peace.
something like that, yeah. And
Oh, Aaron.
he was the old dude. And so Mike Titsworth picked me up to go to practice, and he said, "Hey, have you ever met Chris Chapa?" I was like, "No, I haven't." And because I hadn't been to the previous shows like Anchor Watt and Devastation and MDC and all that.
Yeah.
I hadn't gone to any of those shows yet. I was 15, right?
Okay.
And so they went over to the practice, and we all met up, and everything clicked right away. Well, then the name changed to the Hershey Squirts, and then he joined up.
Possum didn't want to do the Hershey Squirts.
He didn't like the name?
He hated that name.
Oh, he hated the name.
So
Neither did Pedraza. He couldn't get with it.
So
No shit.
Steve immediately quit.
Okay.
Immediately. So they needed a bass player, and I met up with Chris Chapa at Abe Godoy's birthday party, the one at the electrical or communications workers party.
Your CWA building over there?
So there was
Staples, yep.
It was the Crayons and Saniacs, Killjoy, Chris's band Killjoy.
Yeah.
And so I just gotten my bass amp out of layaway from Clausen's. I had it there for like a year and a half or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
A little shitty PV Minx. And, I took it, and Chris borrowed it. So Vanjie, his mom, dropped us off for the show. He had his little rig. And Mike Fuentes at the time was saying, Manchurian Candidates.
Yes.
So he said, hey, man, the Hershey Squirts, there used to be the Willies. They're looking for a vocalist and a bass player. And I said, he's all, I go, well, dude, I've never been in a band before. It's like, I just started playing. I play guitar. But, and he goes, I try out, you try out with me.
Cool.
I said, oh, man, I'll do it. I was like, I don't care. Shit, why not? So it was like, introduced us, whatever. A couple weeks go by, and it's like the time. And Mike calls me. He's like, can't do it, man. I'm not going to, I just, like, he got nervous or some shit. And I was like, kidding me? I was like, dude, they're like coming to my house right now.
Yeah.
And you go, whatever, like,
what's
going on? Like, for a little, like, audition or whatever. And I don't know, I think I just played, like, classical music. And Chris was like, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then he forced Nathan to come to my house and, like, teach me some songs.
Oh,
shit. Teach me some of their songs. I was 14.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, cool. So I just ended up being in the band. So we ended up, I guess we practiced a couple times with Pedraza. But our first show, and it was Peter Suarez singing on vocals. So our first show we were going to play.
You were on guitar?
No, I was actually
in Pure Hate.
Yeah, I just kind of motioned into Pure Hate because I was hanging out with like Chris and Tony went to Carroll together, right?
Yeah.
So somehow I ended up filling in for Raul, who couldn't make it to a Pure Hate concert in McAllen.
No shit.
And Tony's like, dude, yeah, man, like I want play some guitar, man, on this one or whatever. And so that was a totally different microcosm of things. Microcosms, right? So anyway, back to his thing. We
had a gig at like at that the Hacienda.
Right.
Yeah.
And we were gonna play, and we had not heard from Pedraza in a week or something. You know what I mean? And back then, that's like months.
Tell me about it.
You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
We practice every day. You know what I mean? And so
what happened, right?
What is this dude, right? He's like, go to Cloyd and go find this fucker or whatever. So me and Peter went over there and we knocked on his door. He's like, hey, what's up? And he just like comes to the door, what's going on? I'm like, hey man, well, we have a gig tonight. And he was like, yeah, man, I'll see if I can make it. Shit, this fucker ain't gonna show up.
Right.
But Chris, hey, what happened with Steve? I was like, nah, I don't think he's gonna make it, bro. He said he's gonna try to make it. I was like, I was like, he hadn't even been to rehearsal. I was like, man, I think maybe he did show or didn't show.
I don't know.
That's be a question for Chapa. But that was how I started.
But make no mistake though, when it was the Willies and Steve Pedraza was in the band, it was like, we know who's playing lead guitar. Because he was like pulling off these crazy screams, and he was like for real, like he was a metal guitar player.
But that's how I met Nathan. Was him coming and teaching me, Mob Mentality or wherever the fuck we were playing.
So you got a year on him? You're about a year older?
A little over a year.
Mm-hmm.
So we were
age-wise.
So I'm the eldest out of all of us?
It appears that way.
Okay.
I'll turn 52 January 5th. So I'm probably...
Hell yeah, January 5th, right around the corner. All right, good. Hell yes.
So that's how I met Nathan, was him coming over and teaching me songs for the Hershey Squirts. And so a couple of years went by. There was many renditions of the Hershey Squirts.
Right,
I mean, we had
Yeah.
Philip Kelso on vocals. We had
Yeah.
Kite Rogers on guitar. We had there was a version of it where it was Cato, John Alanis, and Peter Suarez on guitar, vocals, me on bass. We did a little recording with that one with Robert Swaga.
Oh, no
and
shit.
Richard Mendez. They had a little studio in the garage in the back when Richard Mendez was still with the post office.
No
He jams
shit.
out with
Wow.
Dreaming in Color.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's left-handed. Anyway,
Yeah.
we jammed that. So it was that rendition for a long time. It got burned out. The dudes were like, fuck this, whatever. And so they were in Big Mouth as well.
All right.
Peter
Okay.
and Ken Cato. Cato was always in Crayons, you know what I mean? And then Pete was in the Crayons as well. It was a weird thing. And then, so the last rendition of the Hershey Squirts was I moved over to guitar, and it was Raul Garza on bass.
Okay.
Nathan came back as guitar and vocals.
Right.
Oh,
So me and him would share vocals and it started to kind of get a little bit crazier.
It got tighter. What was funny, and this is,
Yeah.
It started out kind of serious.
Yeah.
The band was kind of serious
right.
shit, serious topics and shit. And
Yeah.
by the time we got in there, it was like,
it was hilarious.
it's hard to
the way-
apologize
Yeah.
to 20 kids waiting on a clown.
Well,
and
see-
shit like that.
See, I'd gone out of town and to visit a gal that I was dating in College Station. I came back into town 3 or 4 days later, and they were on the party line saying, "Hey, you know what? Let's just turn this whole thing into a big, kind of clowny, funny thing,
Okay.
with comedy." So they actually took some of the songs, songs as old as the Willies, and like reskinned them with hilarious lyrics, dude. And they were telling me these lyrics over the phone, and I was crying. Like literally crying, like really
We
did that?
kind of did like
They were
Is
so
that what we're
good.
gonna do, right?
They were so funny.
like a speedcore,
Yeah.
like parody band,
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And-
like Sticky or something like that, but like
Right.
even more over the top.
So not to be outdone,
Right.
I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to write some songs for this, and so I came up with because it's hard to apologize when he kind of named that song indirectly, and so I wrote a song around it because it was this funny quote that he heard on a talk show.
When it hung, right?
Hung like a pig. You wrote that
Hung
one.
like a pig.
Help me out here. A true life story of a boy in his jar.
Yeah.
And then we had this other shit. And so it was like a glut
We had
of
a
new
boat
songs.
net, a boat net.
Boatnet was a classic. It was all about Boatnet.
Yes.
Nathan called
That
Jerry,
is a classic.
"We're going
I
to
remember
Boatnet,"
that
you know.
one. Yes.
Just think about the chicken makes me hot and wet.
Yes.
We had the Hungarian chop.
Oh yeah, the Hungarian shop. Yeah, which that kind of influenced the vomit
So
spots.
at the end,
No shit.
Yeah.
at the end of
Yeah.
the Hershey Squirts deal,
Yeah.
that was mayhem, whatever. We won't get into that, but
Yeah.
when that Chris moved to Austin and we were down here, and we were, I guess it was a couple of years without a band, but we
No,
was-
it was-
Really?
Yeah.
Really,
All
it was
the-
really like no. It
the-
was it was all of '91, and
Okay.
and in '91 he and Chris Garcia were hanging out a lot and writing songs, which
Okay.
they
Because
were.
me and Chris started jamming with back in the day when he's my half brother, my brother's half brother, whatever you want to call it. His dad fucked my mom. Is what it is.
Okay. Yes.
Anyway, we've been jamming since I guess he was in 9th grade, I was in 10th grade, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So it was me, him, and Patrick Boswell. He was on drums.
Patrick on drums.
Yeah. So
So no wonder why his sons play drums too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So he would let, at the time they were Sufferance. Was it Turnus Integrity later Sufferance? I don't know, those dudes.
It was Annihilator and Turn into Sufferance.
Okay, so Sufferance or whatever, they would practice in Chris's Cuartito in the back.
Okay.
He would let them. So he said, "Hey man, can we borrow your shit when you're not,
when you're not jamming?"
Yeah, so we took a couple of amps and we put it in his bedroom, and so we'd use all the guitar amps as guitar, bass, everything.
Yeah.
Chris was playing bass at the time, and I was playing guitar, and we didn't have any mics or any shit. My brother worked at Best
I
Products.
remember Best.
Yeah, that was KIII
3D
TV3.
logo.
Yeah. No
But
kidding.
so he bought me this little
Put that hard
Sony,
forever.
a little gold Sony mic. It was a little tiny mic. We didn't have no mic stand. It was a little mic. So we just took a mic cable, and we put it like in the AC shit
Yeah.
and dropped it and did Lemmy style, and we just fucking sang, and we just plugged that into a guitar amp as well. We play, Silly Girl, I'm begging you. We play like Descendant shit.
Yeah.
So it was me, Chris, and Patrick for a while. And so later, after he was in Killjoy, and after Killjoy, after Hershey Squirts, all that shit, me and him were kind of just jamming around, doing a bunch of shit like chick music, we'd call it. We've been playing, we've been playing this hardcore shit for so long.
Yeah, let's change it up.
So we're like, yeah, whatever. And then Nathan showed me this song, and I was like, dude, we need to be fucking writing songs like that.
Mm.
And it's like they're kind of semi-funny, but not super crazy over the top funny.
Right.
And they're melodic, and it'd be fucking fun as fuck, because our buddies Mike Fuentes and Mark Fuentes and all them, they went to go see Guar in Houston, and they played, and the opener was Big Drill Car of all the bands. So they came back with a cassette. What's the fucking orange cassette one?
CD type.
No, that was the first one. Anyway,
Mall batch.
and we were like, no.
Fuck
And so anyway, we were like, this is awesome. It's like melodic shit.
Yeah, we all like unanimously agreed that this band is amazing as shit. Like they're punchy. The singer's badass. Guitar
like he was
players
singing, but he wasn't.
Yeah, we want to do this.
He was singing, but he wasn't singing.
Yeah.
Like Queensryche singing or that. He was just singing, and he was just like whatever. It was like, hey, this is pretty cool. He's not like a punk rock singer. He's not like a vocalist like Journey or nothing like that. He's just a fucking singer.
Yeah.
And it was like, because Descendants would have punk rock shit too. And these guys were just melodic the whole way through. And so it kind of got us into a little delving into another different era of shit that people were coming out with. And it was like, well, this is fucking cool. So he had a song called Green, Green Eyes. And we were like, dude, we got to do something like that. Kind of revolve around that.
That was the
shit.
first one?
Yeah, Green, Green Eyes. Okay, so I called Chris G, and I said, look, dude, check this out. And he was in Austin working an insurance gig, right?
Okay.
And we had been talking about forming a band, and don't forget Chris Laurel, we met him, right?
So in between all this bullshit, before all that 91 was like a fucking rough year.
Chaos.
I think we'd lost our apartment or something. So, or we were living in a shitty apartment, whatever it was, and there was a place called Ballyhoo's.
Ballyhoo's, yeah.
It's the old Cullen Mall, whatever.
Yeah.
And so we found out that they were paying for a weekend, a Friday night and Saturday night gig for classic rock cover bands. They were paying $1,500. And we were
$1,500
for 2 nights, whatever. We're like, fuck, just start learning fucking classic rock. So we had like Raul Garza, he was playing, and it was us, and we were.
They're like, Nate, you're playing guitar and singing, and I was like,
so we had our buddy Dan Garcia playing drums, and we were gonna do this thing, and we were like, we'll play. At the time, classic rock is now like oldies or whatever. But anyway, back then we're like, we'll play stuff that's not normal classic rock. Let's play like. We're playing like Rio, like by
yeah.
You know what I mean? Duran Duran.
Those are the jams to play back then. That's what they wanted to hear at the bars.
Yeah, and we were like, what we called Super Ball.
Oh yeah.
It was like, it turns out there was a band called Super Ball. We're like, we just fucking cover bands, just fucking play this thing.
Yeah.
Play and make some fucking money, man. So we ended up meeting through a mutual friend through Spike, right? I think we met Chris Laurel.
Yeah.
And so we started hanging out with him. We were underage, and he was 21. So he had an apartment over there off Weber.
Racket Club.
And so we would go and he would we would go drinking and stuff and hang out there, and he would show us his Rush collection, and we'd jam out, and we'd fucking like smoke and drink and have fun. And he was a drummer, and so Dan was still kind of drumming with us. We had never practiced or anything. We just talked about doing this shit. So we're coming up with another name, whatever. That's why we were talking. I was like, what about Pretty Mama? Because I heard the song. Pretty Mama. What about Sweet Daddy? And I was like, yeah. All right. And then
I thought it was a cool name for the class.
They were like, yeah, man, that's looking cool. And I was like, oh, all right. I would never really like that name. So anyway, I just put that on record.
That's on the record.
I've never liked that band at all. So we're like, yeah, we'll be called Sweet Daddy, and we'll play classic rock, whatever. And then it just kind of like withered into like, fuck this, we're not doing it.
No shit.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a whole lot of shit.
Yeah,
like we couldn't agree on the song. We couldn't get together. We're running out of time for that summer or whatever the hell they're doing. That fucking paying that money.
Yeah.
So, meanwhile, we're like hanging out more with Chris Laurel than we are like Dan or anybody like that. So we're hanging out.
And he says to me, "We got to get to Chris Laurel before the Weasels get to him." It's like, you're right.
they're gonna snatch him up, right?
Yeah, because he was hanging out at Delmar, and it was dangerously.
That's how I knew him.
Dangerously rife with weaselry.
It's gonna happen.
So
they're gonna snatch him up. We're always looking for drummers.
Yeah,
and if they would,
right.
I remember that's when we would hang out back in the Delmar days as well, because I was back in. That's when before I dropped out.
Right.
Fell in love with Lori, and everything was just history. After
No
that.
disrespect to the Weasels, though. A lot of them are good guys.
I know.
Friends.
They're trying to
even
make
have
their
their
way.
bands. Three Horny Guys was cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a little side thing called Phantos with one of them. Kind of.
Okay.
Thomas Harrison and all those guys.
Yeah.
Shout out to Pablo.
No shit,
DJ
right?
Pablo, he's cool.
Yes.
So I was working in Arlington, Texas, and
91, 92.
This was in 1992.
Yeah.
And I'm there for almost 6 months or something like that. And these assholes are like, "Hey, man,
come back.
We're jamming with Chris Laurel." He calls whatever he's and
we got him.
I got Chris Garcia playing now too, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "But." So he's playing bass, and he's like, "They're like, no, he's playing guitar." I was like, "No, I play guitar." And I switched to guitar for a while there, and I was like,
"You're like, I like it."
Like that, and they're like, "No." I was like, "Fuck, man!" I was like, "You're gonna fucking force me?"
But
and I was like, "Well, but I want to play in this band." I was like,
So it came full circle, kind of.
So I was like, I guess I'll fucking play bass.
Yeah.
So I fucking got back on bass. I was like, this sucks.
So he wrote. So he heard a song which later became "Wet Down." That was Chris's song.
Yeah.
Right. And I wrote.
Which my son will be playing with this on Wednesday night.
Oh no shit! He's gonna be playing that.
He's gonna play his uncle's song.
Oh, badass.
Thomas.
Yep.
Awesome.
And Green Green Eyes and Wet Down, and then I snuck another one in there called "Cute and Sexy," and then he wrote a song called "Fictional Nonfiction," right? And that's what he brought to the table. And we was like, well, now we have songs, right? And Chris moved into the Kite 105 building where he had previously lived for.
So we had an apartment, 5 guys in a 2-bedroom apartment on Longview. One of the guys lived in a van outside. Our lease was coming out. I think they were going to tear the building down or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're looking for a place that would hold 5 fucking men or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So we're looking around all over the place, and everybody's like, "Nah, man, we don't want fucking that many people in one house on the shit." So Mauricio, remember Mo?
Yeah.
Anyway, he driving around downtown. He worked at Spawn, I think, at night. And so he was a graveyard shift, and he was around downtown. You go to Vernon's after like 7, ride his motorcycle to Vernon's, come in all drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, he was like, "Hey, I found this fucking place. It's an old radio station." And I just got to call the owner and see if he'll rent it out. And so he goes, and he's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Well, how big is it?" It's like, there's 14 rooms and like 3 bathrooms or 4 bathrooms. Whatever.
All the offices.
But there's no showers like that. There's like no kitchen or nothing. But the guy says he'll rent it out for $750. And we're like, "Fuck, man, if we just keep us 5.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You gotta fucking keep it just us 5, assholes. Like, don't fucking go crazy. Because as soon as you do that, everything goes to shit."
Yeah.
So everybody's like, "Well, yeah, pick your 2 rooms or whatever the fuck's going on. We'll start building this thing out, whatever's going on."
Yeah.
And and there was 2 sound, booths in there. So, big.
Right.
One smaller one and one big fucking one.
Carpeted.
Yeah, like badass.
Jam all damn day and all night.
Sound good as fuck. Yeah, you could jam at fucking 4 a.m. right down the street from
I
the
remember
house.
I recorded
And
with somebody
nobody.
there back in like maybe 96, 97. Yeah.
Sammy.
Oh, well, Sammy was
Must
in there
have
for a
been
little bit.
Sammy the G's.
So he talked to the dude, Farrell, and he said, "Yeah, man, we'll do it, whatever." And so we went in and like, "All right, cool, we're gonna fucking move in this place." And it was 5 of us, and then immediately we had like a 6th guy. Like, what the fuck? Like, man, this can't happen. Whatever.
Immediately
So,
the 6th guy living there.
I was kind of notorious.
There's all these rooms.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
hey, it just
What the
kind of
fuck?
happens.
Hey, man, it just made it like that much cheaper.
Right.
And we're like, "All right, man.
All
whatever."
right. No
So
more than 6.
I was notorious for going on like a road trip with like me and Chris would take off to Austin and go to see a show, and then I would just like, "Man, fuck it, I'm just gonna stay."
Okay.
He's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I'll just catch you right home in a couple weeks, whatever." So I would just stay in Austin and just like couch surf and fuck off and or wherever we're at, Austin, Houston, wherever. I would just stick around and fuck off. So while I was fucking off in Austin, I think I stayed a little bit too long. I was there for maybe a month and a half. When I got back, Chris Laudel had taken over my studio, whatever. Oh yeah, I cleaned this room and this room right here. And he's like, we didn't think you were coming back. He said, what do you mean you think I was coming back? I paid rent. I was like, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna be involved in this anymore because there's too many heads and all this shit. So I never really lived in that place.
Okay.
It was just the place.
Uh-huh.
So all right, cool. So everybody else did, and of course, yeah, it became insane. You know,
Yeah.
it was.
Then
Then
it was
like
more than 6. It's
no.
7,
It was
9.
it was like 14 or whatever.
Right.
It
But
was.
all 14 rooms.
Yeah,
in it,
everybody had a room. Any of their little closets, whatever. It was filled.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the coolest spot. It's like
So that became like kind
everybody
of
wanted
like
to get a space.
like infamous that building, you know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Right Turn Clyde had it after us, and then you know when Sammy had it, we came back. When Sammy had it, and we just had a practice place upstairs. We practiced every night.
Yeah.
For 10 months.
Yeah, every night.
Prior to
Every
the-
single night. Sunday through Monday.
That's how y'all did it.
Well, no air protection.
Right.
We practiced there
Classic
so
air protection.
we practiced there
for,
so long.
That's right.
There was
It is.
There was a
What do you say?
window stool there that was like peeling paint.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, you know, the big double sliding window and had a feels peeling paint. We were there for so long that Chris started fucking with it. He was like, at this time we had Kelly was on drums now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because
Had a drum riser.
No more Chris?
Lorel did
Chris moved to
Lorel did the
Okay, well, that's when he moved
Lorel
on.
did the EP.
Mm.
He did the first record.
He did the make?
And he did a couple of other singles that we did.
Yeah.
Like 3 or 4 singles or whatever we did. And then he did the make. And then we moved to Houston. No, that was after Houston, the make. But there's a lot of shit in between.
The whole band moved to Houston?
Yeah, Chris.
We were a 3-piece for a minute. It was me,
Yeah,
Chris,
just for a little bit.
Me, Laurel, and Nathan.
Oh,
There was
okay.
Chris G's had a family issue. His grandmother passed away, and he was like, "I don't want to be in it." So we kind of like took on a couple of other guitar players, including Possum, who played for a little while, Steve Garcia. But before that, it was Corey. That was Kelly's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played for a while with the band and wrote kind of an interesting set of songs, kind of slower, not less punk.
Yeah.
You know.
We did some weird shit in Houston.
Yeah. And yeah,
It was a terrible place to have a band.
yeah,
It's real
especially
cutthroat,
yeah.
fucking weird shit. But looking back now, and where I was like, man, if we would have just gone to Austin or something, maybe it would have clicked better, done some shit. I was like, I think I probably would have died.
Yeah,
Fucking
we made the right
easily,
choice.
You know what I mean, I was an animal
Because-
like there was no holding me back
We
at
too
that
much
point.
partying.
Yeah, Houston was
Too
more
easy. Too easy.
Fucking easy
Whatever
as
the
fuck,
we
bro.
wanted.
Yeah.
We kind of
It was
thrived
pretty
on
easy in Houston
yeah.
too, but I mean, but Austin we just knew
Yeah.
too many people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Houston's
The party
a big
never
fucking
ended.
place.
We didn't know anybody in Houston. All we just did was just sit around and just take like 9-foot bong rips, you know, and drink every
Yeah.
night and
Play
Yeah.
acid games. Or whatever, you know what I mean?
there you
Yeah.
go. Work our day jobs, and people would come in from out of town. Like we were like the Houston landing pad. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, come party with us. Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Hero
well,
tour. or
be
whatever.
careful what you ask for, you know.
Yeah,
But
be careful what you
but
ask
we
for.
didn't
Look out,
really,
guys.
but we didn't really hang too much with bands from Houston
Uh-huh.
because Houston was and still is kind of, I think, divided into sections of
You get their own
different
cliques.
interests,
Fucking
Yeah.
yeah, man.
and we
Yeah.
couldn't.
It was
there was
rough,
no
dude.
getting
Like,
into it.
To break
go,
in their circle.
we
their
go
inner
and put
circle.
flyers out like
Yeah.
they had emos over there too, and you put flyers in people's windshields
Sure.
or whatever, and there's a fucking guy right behind you taking that fucking flyer off, putting
Yep.
his flyer on.
Oh,
So there's a
like
guy
that.
behind that
Cutthroat.
motherfucker
Yeah.
taking his flyer
It's
off
true.
with the flyer.
Yeah,
And there was another motherfucker who would take all those flyers
After
off
all
and
of
have the
y'all.
little book of flyers.
God
Like, what
damn.
the
it's the
fuck?
freaking fraud capital of the world.
Man, it was
Wow.
rough, dude.
That's
People
terrible.
were
No,
haters, bro.
big time. No discredit.
I've never had to experience that kind of
Yeah.
shit.
They were
down here.
haters. They were
We're
haters.
not
you
that
got-
aggressive in Corpus.
Because you got, yeah. I mean, we could go on a whole show about Houston, really.
Oh my god,
But
what a mess.
What was crazy was, and we didn't really practice too much, but we did create a whole lot of songs through all that reverse negative inspiration energy.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
He drives there,
Like,
back here.
We wrote a song called Westbury, which doesn't have any, lyrics because there's not a damn thing to say about that town.
That was our neighborhood.
Yeah, that was the little neighborhood we lived in, right?
Yeah.
There was, you know, Little Miss Kickball Star. Did that happen before or after Houston? I think it was.
Fuck, it was probably before.
It was. I think it was
Giacomo's Gold.
Giacomo's Gold was just driving on the way to Houston with positive stuff, you know. But then it kind of took a dark turn, you know. And then
what was the fucking Ernest Kershaw?
Oh yeah, he comes. He was in Austin and he comes and he wakes me up.
That was after I got back from LA.
Horseplay at the duck pond.
Because Pilar Borda.
That's right. He woke me up and he played me the song and it was like, yeah, that checks out. Yeah, hopefully that'll show up on an album, which it did. So you know, of course. Yeah. So we go back into town, and we move back, and we're like, okay, now what? You know, well, the era is like the make, right? So we're like, okay.
So Chris Laurel actually lived in the studio with Tim's.
That's right.
With Tim.
Yeah,
he was there.
Oh, Lilial. Damn,
yeah,
right.
Lilial, yeah, he was living there.
And
right here off the Ricardo.
Yeah, the old Portis, Portis building,
No
Mr.
kidding.
Portis and shit.
That's
Very
right, Mr. Portis.
So we played with Green Day like in
1993
or some shit.
February.
The Pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was set up for January 5th, 2023. It was my birthday, and then the singer got sick or some shit, right?
Yeah.
So we played the show anyway, and it was fucking crazy. There was like 500 motherfuckers at that show.
Yeah. What the?
So it turned into just like a big birthday party.
Yeah.
Back at the daddy house, and we went downtown, and it was fucking insane, right? So they rescheduled, and we played again, and I think it was like half as many people, but that was like
half as many. Shit.
Yeah, it was probably like 250 at that time.
They missed out
because I think I don't know, maybe they thought they weren't. This is no internet or shit back then.
Right,
so
exactly.
Yeah. Like, look, and now these people
mouth.
were coming from all over. I think maybe the first date it was just us. Like we're the furthest south. And I think the second date they might have gone further.
Well, they stayed in Austin for a long time.
Yeah, it was for a few weeks. Because they were still just fledgling, you know.
Yeah.
So when they got to us and we were talking to them that night, they're like, man, these labels are like fighting for us and they're sending us drum kits. Everywhere we go, there's a drum kit sent for it. And what do y'all do? It's like, we just keep them. Like, what the fuck them. So they're sending all this shit, and they're like, you know, they're who's fighting over you? And they're like, Geffen and all this shit. We're like, damn. I'm like, those are fucking real. And I was like, well, what made you? And he's like, well, the band All wanted us to tour with them, like open up for them. And they told him no. And I was like, no shit. At the time, I was like, it's a pretty shitty move. Like, All's pretty awesome. And they're like, nah, we can do it on our own. I'm like, okay, whatever. So our buddy JJ that lived in there, he would make these little electronic bongs out of vacuum cleaner motors. And so he would, and they freaked out on that. I'm like, man, I need one of those things. So the next morning, like he went and they bought the parts with him, and he went and like made him this electric bong.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey man, sign the house.
There you go. I don't know why that happened.
Are we back?
Yeah, we're back. We're back. Guys, thank you, honey. Thanks for fixing it up. But real quick, while I'm looking this way, because sometimes I don't always look over my shoulder, I want to give a shout out to everybody that's been chatting in the chat room. So let me get a shout out to Vanessa. You know, remember Vanessa?
Villanueva?
Yes,
Oh my
L'Oreal
God,
from
yeah.
Zeros. She's in the
Oh,
house. Thanks
oh,
for
yeah.
watching tonight.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Always taking care of us at the
Hi,
bar over
Vanessa.
there.
Yeah, nice to talk to you.
I can
And-
shout out Rob Meyer.
Rob Meyer. You got him in there.
Meyer.
Professor Laser.
Oh, that would be Ryan. Yeah.
Biddle.
Hell of an artist.
That's our
Yeah.
artist, yes.
Hey,
Heartbreaker Love Maker.
Raphael, thanks for tuning in again tonight. This is Tony told Nathan and Jerry that Phantos flow off the way from Phoenix to see the show.
Okay, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll see him there. That was a
Yeah,
It's a long story.
that's a long story.
It's got a band called Scolium and Phantos.
Oh, okay. How about Victor? Victor, great memories, Jerry. Victor, how do you pronounce his last name? Jeriquai.
Victor Hottie?
Heike. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are good. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, okay, move back there. And then Clean Bobby, the Burning Yearning Foursome,
Oh,
the
Oh,
Bowling
yeah.
for Super Corpus. Thanks for tuning in, Bobby. Yep. Oh, thank you, Raphael, fixing about no sound. There we go. We're back.
Andrews.
Guys, thanks for tuning in. And hell yeah, thanks for telling us know we're missing the sound. And Lori, thanks for fixing that up. Okay, so it's gonna be killer. You got cameos coming in. I wish I could
Word
play
up.
with-
Not cameo.
I wish I could
Word up, dude.
I know
Yeah,
you word up.
Come on now.
I wish I could play
But then
some
again, you
guitar,
never
dude.
know.
I would love to do something like
Well,
that. Oh man, you guys, you really have created something special from all the years that Sweet Daddy's been making music. I know exactly what you mean when you said how Nathan brought the ideas of having something fun, but not over the top. And your lyrics just always flow so fucking well, and the way you put
Well,
it together.
In all
Song
earnest,
after
I mean,
song.
the thing that's endured about us, and from the very beginning, there was never ever going to be one, lyricist, one guy writing all the songs. It was
Yeah,
always going to be a group effort, and then we'd have to also, contribute and write the songs.
yeah.
I mean, or someone would start a song, and then someone else, then we'd all finish it.
To the
as a band.
collaboration, yeah.
Yeah.
It was shitload of songs where someone had a riff,
Yeah.
and then someone had an idea of a
Yeah.
lyric, and
Yeah.
then someone else had a whole different fucking thing. Like one example is like 7,000, 1,042. That's a number we made up. That's how
Yeah.
you pronounce that, by the way.
That's
If you
it.
see it on the record, 7,000, 1,042.
Yeah.
So
All in
anyway,
one word.
It looks like
Oh,
a
yeah.
catalog
What
number,
number?
but it's just the last song on the fucking album.
so
Yeah.
Chris had a riff, and
Yeah.
then
It is the
Nathan,
last song. That's
and
right.
then Nathan
Yeah.
had a vocal riff, and then and I'd been working on this little thing, and I was like, "Fuck, man!" I was like, so they put their two parts together, and I was like, "That fucking works pretty badass." I go, "I don't know, but I'm just fucking throwing it out there. This part might fit in there at the fucking end," and it was. And they were like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
that works," and that's
Yeah.
like "Someone died," whatever that.
Yeah. It
The
was,
last part. So it was like it was a totally different song, but we just like put it all together.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, cool. And most of the songs happen like that.
Mm.
It's just.
most of them do.
Yeah.
Some of them are written differently.
Yeah.
Like we've got some oddball ones, like where Kelly, like I said, he can write stuff, and he had a home studio over on 3rd Street. He called it the Hermitage. And anyway, he had ADATs and stuff like that, and he's really, really great. I mean, when it comes to all things technical, and he comes up with like this big long like song that's complete,
Yeah.
and it was like, okay, now write some lyrics and
Yeah, because he
vocals
plays
for
bass,
it, and a vocal
drums,
melody.
guitar, all that shit.
Yeah.
He'll record
Yeah.
himself.
So those songs were difficult to write because usually it didn't work that way. We used, but somehow we managed to solidify that, and we were really happy to find out that, yeah, you know what? It's as it turns out, any kind of way you want to write a song, we can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we can't
If you
do
want
it,
to bring it to us,
it can't be done.
If we
Like, you know what I
write
mean?
it together.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, so, and there are speaking of the songs, we're very proud of our songs. Our songs are all kind of like like our children, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a big family of songs,
Yeah.
and none of them sound it's kind of an unwritten rule where we try to not to write the same damn song twice.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that it doesn't. I mean, yeah, we'll have sister songs.
I mean, we write and rewrite.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we argue about some of that shit. And some of the lyrics that are going to go on there.
A lot of diversity and discourse. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
We get over it because we're brothers, bro.
At the at the beginning, where it was like one of those things, like we shouldn't have any curse words in the song.
Try not to.
Because
good point.
it's, you know what I mean? But now we're like, oh, you know what I mean?
We get away with it now.
Oh, well, it wasn't getting away. It was just like, you know, when fuck it all, whatever.
Yeah.
Because we, you know, we talk about pussy a lot in our songs.
Yeah,
and
it's rock and roll.
We're you know, we're sex rock.
Rock and roll has its own kind of dialect, you know.
So it's, you know,
Yes.
you know, it's a little edgy when it, that kind of shit. But it's, you know, so like the songs that we don't have recorded that we play live all the time. They're, you know, they're 10 years old now, maybe older. That people have already heard are super edgy like that. You know, sexy songs, or if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just got to the point where like fuck it all. You know what I mean? We don't care.
Yeah.
It's rock and roll, punk rock, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
This particular.
We never really thought of ourselves as punk rock.
This particular set has, you know, coming up. I think it's 15 songs, and it features like most of them have.
That's a big set.
Yeah, and most of them have like.
Well, our normal set's about 28 songs.
Yeah.
All right.
We play 90 minutes. But
Yeah.
this is we have a lot of changeovers and shit.
And
so we're just
and they're very
and we have Chris playing drums.
centric. Yeah, we got Chris playing.
Yeah.
But these songs are kind of like heavily influenced by what Chris G like brought to the table. You know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the whole Bombas thing, which you know, just the most. I don't know, man. Like I can't really put my finger on like. There's no way of like sectioning things off, but we just know in our hearts that that has to happen, you know, you know, as a memorial, and we miss him sorely every day.
Every day, man. I can't imagine how you guys, you know, keep moving on, you know, without, you know, that's the piece of your heart right there, and hearing about the origin of how the band came together, you know, in my bands it's been almost like a night and day, where I write all the lyrics, and that's the way it's gonna be. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It hasn't. I haven't had the luxury.
It must be nice for the band members. Like,
no worries. You know what I mean? He's gonna take care of all that. But I never had the luxury of living in a house with other band members where you can collaborate and have that at least one time during the band's history.
Shit going on in our life. You know,
where there's some sort of like a revelation that you were like, you know what, the way he's bringing to the table those lyrics, man, that's what we need to go with, you know. And you already had a good feeling of where you wanted to take it, but that just gave it a little bit more of a direction, a point to really aim for. And a lot of bands, you know, like I said, my bands, we haven't done that. It's Integrity and Killamora, Screwface and War Cult. Every band's kind of always had its own always had the writer. And I've always looked for the badass writer. And if he can write, well, I got the lyrics, you know, and I got a great relationship with our drummer because I have a drummer background. So if I can get a good relationship with the drummer, have a badass writer, there's the band. And but I didn't get the luxury of having what you guys had.
You say
and that's what I'm missing out. But there's a plus, and you know, like you said, we argue a lot, we fight because
there's
I don't
a
like
lot
that
of
name.
strain.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of strain. There's a lot of
adversity. It means so
adversity.
much.
But ultimately, in the when it's all boiled down, we all kind of know that we're evolving and still growing. You know, like I mean, maybe someday we're gonna be like mixing in like a couple acoustic guitars and just like I can't get up. No, we don't. You know, we better burn out than fade away. But you know, while we're physically able to do things, and like Kelly's written a couple of new jams lately within the last 5 years. We can't wait to kind of corral and unleash and like but you know. The coolness of, I mean, not cool. What I'm saying is like the diversity, in we haven't really ever found a true sound. Like when you hear in this vast expanse of bands, you know, like you hear a song, you go, oh, that's them, you know.
Okay, I get your
You know
point.
what I mean?
Yeah.
But then for us, it's like, that's them, you know, like, oh shit, that doesn't sound nothing like what I remember them 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, that makes kind of sense. You know, I've always wanted.
But I don't think that it's not one of those things where we're like trying to evolve or our shit's changing up.
Yeah.
It's just we've always had like an eclectic style of writing, and it's never going to be the same song, you know, twice.
Yeah.
And if we hear something sounding anywhere near something else, we're like, hey man, fucking, that's the other song.
Like
yeah, right.
That's that. Oh yeah, but it was a fucking.
Stop biting. Don't bite.
Don't
bite off
Don't
that.
bite your own shit.
Stop biting the back of that other
Yeah,
song.
you know what I mean. It's like,
That's hard.
hey, we'll bite somebody else's shit, but we can't bite our own.
Well,
Yeah.
in these days, I love. I'm not so much a listener of modern music, but there is some stuff that's pretty cool. And there was a lot of stuff from the 90s that I loved, 80s and stuff, and we had, you know, mutually like, or like I'd say like some of those bands and stuff. But we really have become a band that we draw upon what we think we can do, or what each member can like sing this part, you know what I mean? And
okay.
you know what I mean? Like I can't play that. Wait a minute. You got to sing that because I'm going to be playing this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is a little bit too.
I've always thought like it's like man, I could have this really cool bass line in the song.
Yeah.
Like but my singing and playing isn't. You know what I mean? I'm not playing crazy bass line. Like when I play with like maybe No One the Beyonders, I can play the shit out of the bass line. It's fun as fuck because I'm not singing.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of restrained on the song, but so, you know, it also makes it a better tune in some ways. You know what I mean? And not a bunch of crazy bullshit going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like you're kind of forced into. Like, hey, I'm not going to sing that shit, or you sing it. Or
you play to your strengths.
Yeah, that's
it's like, you know what, I've got my hands full here, and you just hold that down. You know, you can hit that note better than I can.
We'll hear a song. I mean, I'll write a song and say, I'm not fucking singing that song.
Yeah.
Like, you're singing it. Or, like, this song sounds like, I think Chris should sing this song. It's a higher.
I can hear your voice.
And vice versa sometimes, too, you know. Like, that's like high school hand job, you know. He wrote it. It's like, no. You sound good on that. And it's okay to not like the way you sound. It's okay. You know?
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be a band member go, dude, I'm trying to tell you. Beat into the dirt, you really fucking sound good, man. Okay, so just like, you know, but yeah, it is tough. Like we, you know, going back and listening to the records, man, and they're both long, you know, the make and break cherries
you
are
made
long
them
as fuck.
Give
people their money's worth, right?
Absolutely, man.
You know, but because it's like
they don't make them like that anymore.
Well,
yeah, we dropped about 6 songs on Bring the Cherries.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, some of them didn't make
still
quite make the
16, 17 tracks.
17 tracks.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. That's the thing. Making albums for us was like, okay, it's got to be a party album, right? Because back in the day, man, back in the 90s, it was like, you got to make a party album, something that'll stay on.
And we would go
for a long time.
We'd go to mastering.
Yes. Yeah.
We'd go to mastering.
Yeah.
We wouldn't just send that fucking thing off. We would sit there with Jerry Tubb and like eat his wife's brownies and shit and be like, hey man, right?
Yeah.
And like sit there and like, hey man, like this is the vibe we want, and this is how many seconds that goes between the songs. This song's got to go here.
Yeah.
Let me hear that back, and then we come with an order.
Wow.
We go in there and hang out and make that was our mixing mastering.
We didn't have an A&R guy going, okay, look, you need to do this and this shit.
Yep.
You're single.
Yeah.
And they were like, we don't have no fucking singles.
No.
Yeah.
Really.
Make love to me.
Yeah, make love to me, man.
Man, so much has changed. Right?
Yeah.
We don't have that kind of time anymore, right?
Yeah,
But between work and
we'll still
family.
do it.
The sands of
we'll
the
still do
hourglass.
it. I like that.
Such are the days of our lives.
Man, I'm telling you, Father Time is just, he's hauling ass.
I know, man. He needs to tell Mr. Death to fucking stop
Chill the
coming
fuck
around.
out.
Yeah.
That's fucking right, Mr. Death. Stay the fuck back.
Please.
Let's talk about what kind of got us to where we're at. And so let me start with you, Nathan. What got you influenced to either pick up the guitar or maybe just get into rock and roll or start the band? Whatever start, you know, sometimes it's out of necessity. I just want to play in my friend's band. I guess I'll play guitar then, or I'll sing. Because that kind of happened for me being a vocalist. There was a better drummer than I was, so I was like, well, shit.
Okay.
Little Chris said,
Yeah.
Chris said, you better start singing.
So my mom got me on stage at age 9 singing with my brother, my half brother, Travis Clark, and at the Listening Post, which was a bar that was behind the Sound Vibrations that Robert.
Listening Post. I thought I've seen.
Yeah, somebody carved a big old like
wow.
crazy sculpture of an ear on a post. Yeah, and my mom would perform there. Okay. My dad is a musician and has always been since age 18. Wow. And he writes like he's amazing. He's just
Freddie, baby.
Yeah, Freddie McLain. He's not. I mean, we're different animals, you know. He is truly a musician. I mean, he's skilled knowledge. He knows chords, scales. He's jammed with all kinds of dudes. That's too long. It's too long.
So it's kind of genetic.
But because you're asking me,
right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But my mom could also play piano and all this and other stuff. My brother, you know, and so got on stage, you know, and then we had a cover band called NV. Then my brother was 18 and I was like 11, and I sang vocals on that one. We sang like a top 40 hits that were kind of stale and forgotten, like Bryan Adams, Run to You, like I Will Follow by U2, Should I Stay, Should I Go? Yeah. Come on now, you know, help me out here with
those
Romantics, great. You know, What I Like About You. Yeah.
Yes.
Stuff great. Like that back in the 80s. And so then I got but before that, you know, it was like, and it was 80s influence. Before that, my brother brought home Back in Black on vinyl.
Okay.
In 1980.
Yeah.
And he goes, and he played it when we listened to it on the Craig record player and shit. And I was just like, wow. Next thing I knew, I was like drawing pictures of Angus Young on my folders at school, and my teachers were like, "What the fuck is that?" You know?
And then such a big cock.
Yeah, huge. So we end up. Then he brings Highway to Hell over.
Oh yeah.
And explains to me that this guy just died, and I'm like, wait a minute, but they still got the same. Wait a minute, wait, what? And then For Those About to Rock came out. I was like, oh wait, I don't know. And then I kind of got into the leopard thing. You know, I was young, I was a kid. I was like, fuck, you know. And then rap, what the hell? Shout out to Cat House.
Yeah,
you know,
Out of the Cellar. Warren D. Martini in the house.
Why is he not still in rap though? That's like still. We don't know.
It's a money thing.
But his thing was like, and I was like, I'll never do that, you know. but I heard something in the Robin Crosby rhythm guitar shit.
Yeah.
Like, man, but these guys are way higher math, LA, whatever. So I ended up moving out of my mom's house and into my dad's house because they split up in '83. And I met this fella named Willie Olson, and we called him the Pill. And he lived behind us on Texas. I went over there, hey, what's going on? And he was playing Loose Nut, Black Flag Loose Nut on cassette, dude. And I was like, what is this? He's like, this is punk rock, bro. This is hardcore punk. And I'm like, that's funny. Like, it seems like I could play this.
Yeah.
Because I had a guitar, you know. What, do you got to move the power chord over or something?
Yes,
like
way easier than
than trying to play, you know.
Right, like, exactly.
Right between the eyes, and Wanted Man, and what the fuck, or Round and Round, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so then punk rock, and then Bad Brains. Like, wow, when these guys are amazing. And then I heard the original tape, and I was like, okay, so it's punk rock.
Yeah.
Formed a band. Going back, that's what put me in a loop to get into punk rock. But then ever expanding with stuff like, you know, the crossover thing. Well, I always thought that was amazing. Like Corrosion of Conformity's like Animosity record. What the fuck?
Oh, that was
The
so
Accused, you know.
The Accused
now Tuesday D.
Yeah.
Crumbsuckers. They played here. I was like, that's amazing.
Yeah. You tell me, Cryptic Slaughter.
Little Ludacris much.
Ludacris. I love Ludacris.
Cryptic Slaughter not so much. We'll get into that later. But yeah,
right.
Like, they're okay.
Well, Crumbsuckers and The Accused were my favorite out of that mix. And a close third would be DRI.
Yeah,
their crossover album.
Yeah, I enjoyed the first couple of records from DRI, and
it was Dealing With It for me. That was
dealing.
But how
about
like the fun stuff from like SOD and MOD?
Nope.
No,
any of those catch on to you?
It was what I liked about the SOD tape was it was like light. Like, man, look at that little tiny spool. Like, who are these guys again? You know, it's like. But no, beyond that, well, it's like, you know, and metal. Okay, so the thing about metal was, I don't know, man. You know, like Ozzy. No.
Yeah, that was like Ultimate Sin era.
Original
Bark at the Moon.
Yeah, the original is like, you know, but the crossover stuff, and then Napalm Death, and then the Carcass British, and the other metal British bolt thrower, you know. Like,
then you get the European
Godflesh, what's going
death
on?
metal
You know,
starting to come in the 90s.
Entombed is cool.
Yeah,
you know. But at that time, it was like, well, you got to get out of this like hardcore punk rock thrash loop.
Yeah,
And you know, especially with like, you know, I took a cruise with Chris G one time, and he had a big old like crazy box behind his seat in his was it Nissan or Mitsubishi?
like
Mitsubishi,
speaker
right?
box.
And it was like, and it was like all the bass, and he was jamming.
Let's say Two Live Crew.
No. Well, he did some of that kind of stuff, but he was playing a 7 Seconds album.
Oh shit!
Soul Force Revolution, and I was just kind of like, man, dude, it's melodic, and this is not the same 7 Seconds. Yeah,
ourselves.
Yeah, that was it. That was ourselves.
Sorry.
And yeah, then Soul Force came in, right? But it was so cool how there's melody and high production, you know.
Yeah,
and
to back it up.
And do you remember when there was an era when all the bands were trying to put out the most technical record you could possibly put out? Like,
because they were finally getting good.
Metallica's and Metallica's and Just for All.
Perfect
Everybody's
example.
trying to outsell each other.
Yeah.
You know, SNFU, Better Than a Stick in the Eye. You ever listen to that record? It's just all over the fucking place. I dare you to try to even learn one fucking song off that thing. The Accused, Mark Splatterhead's Maddest Stories Ever Told.
That's a classic.
Super fucking techno. It's like,
Tommy Need
oh shit, yeah, bro. It was like, yeah, man. So like, and then that whole technical thing, it's like, even COC with Technocracy was like, whoa, shit. So it's like, man, you know, like, this is too much for my brain. We're not gonna, you know, let's just try to get back to basics, but then like, let's have something to where like, you know, oh man, you know, we're at that age to where we want to, you know, have sex with ladies, right?
Yeah.
So
we're in our 20s.
Here come the women.
Yeah.
Just coming to the shows, and it's like, all right, let's play songs that they can clap along to, and you know, sniz, which there was occasionally. But check this out. After a while, like, we started really like getting into the writing styles of each other, what was going on, and you know, that's kind of how it. We're always been team players when it came to band stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but the other part of your question was what? I can't remember.
Well, you know, what really got you? Was it a person or was it a moment that kind of got you like saying, man, I want to do my own thing? Because it sounds like your dad and having a music background there at the house was kind of just you know, set the groundwork for you just to pick up something that you wanted to,
there was no way
pursue.
He just, you know,
depending on what instrument you were going to
growing up as a child, it was like I would hear a lot of jazz. I would hear a lot of Chick Corea, a lot of Wes Montgomery, a lot of I would hear a lot of like Weather Report, you know, Jocko and shit. But then I'd also hear a lot of Dylan, a lot of Joni Mitchell, a lot of James Taylor, because my mom. Yeah. So this mix of genius shit, you know, and then the Police. My mom was like, she came home with what was that record? Synchronicity.
Oh, and that's progressive as fuck.
Oh man, it was like
for pop music, it's very progressive.
Like I said, there's just no end to the possibilities of what could happen. But recorded music and making you know, in the old days, man, it took a lot to make a record.
Oh yes,
and a lot of money.
Yeah,
money, dude.
Money.
You know, and
now anybody can make one.
Well, but then you got to listen to it.
But you know, that's a different story. The caliber of it, of the quality of it. But back then, man, you had to have a lot of money.
Now, the technicalities
by the hour in the studio.
Yeah, the technicalities of the way things are when you get a really good artist and into a studio nowadays, it's like, wow, bam, you know.
They still do
pretty
studios?
Special. Yeah, you know,
you know what I mean?
They do.
Like,
They do.
Like, what
They
the fuck?
And
that's how old we are.
Yeah, man. I
would go
know.
to the studio. They're like,
Yeah.
"There's no fucking studio anymore, asshole."
We're doing it at your house.
Phone it in,
Really- yeah.
dickhead.
Yeah, right.
Can't you just fucking send it on OneDrive? I'll send you.
I'll send you the stems. And you do the rest.
It happens like that every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
So tell me, Jerry, what got you started? Was there a particular guy? Is there?
I was going over.
Because I know you did.
I was a
Guitar
I was
first?
like a fledgling skateboarder, dude.
Mm.
I wasn't like Rob Meyer.
Rob.
But
Nobody's
anyway,
like Rob.
no. So we were skating when we were kids, and I would skate. And we would skate to like at first we were skating to like heavy metal shit. Then we got into like Black Flag.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Circle
it
jerks.
came
all that.
around.
Yep.
So it was just like background music to
Mm.
fucking skate to. So I was a little punk rock kid, you know, who had nails in my hair, and I would skate around the neighborhood, and I would go to my buddy Bobby Galvan's house, and he was jamming with this cocksucker Dillo.
Dillo.
My dude.
Yeah.
He was in a band called Asylum at the time.
No shit.
So-
Asylum.
Asylum, yeah. And so it was him and Bobby in Bobby's garage, and they would just jam. And I would ride my skateboard over there on Cheryl Street, and they would play Slayer songs and shit, right? And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I want to fucking play drums. You know what I mean? Like, I want to play drums. And the family on my mom's side are all drummers. You know what I mean?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you know. So I was like, well, and she was like, nah, fuck no. Like, house isn't big enough. It's fucking too loud. All this shit. You know what I mean? But I'd go watch him all the time. You know what I mean? I never had want to play guitar at all. My mom got my dad an acoustic guitar 1 year, and it sat in his closet for like 3 years, whatever. I still have that acoustic guitar. So one day I just like picked it up and started like fucking with it. So at that point, I would go to punk rock shows, and I was just like, you know, whatever. But I was into like radio shit when I was a kid, you know, like Journey and Styx and all that shit. You know what I mean? I wasn't into any. I was like, oh yeah, New York Dolls and fucking Sex Pistols, all that shit. It's like no. I was like Journey. No,
Yeah.
fucking Journey.
Mm.
You know, they're the greatest.
They're the
Styx.
greatest, right? Sticks.
You know what I
I
mean?
know, right?
The
man.
Cars.
Sticks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
right.
shit. Like, I mean, I was like fucking into that shit. You know what I mean? And my brother gave me this record collection. My older brother, and I was a little kid. I was probably 5 years old, or something 4, and all my siblings were at school waiting for them. I put the headphones on. My mom would be cleaning the house, and I just switch records out. So I was listening to everything from Pink Floyd, Bread. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Sabbath. Or I'd hear like the new shit that was on the radio.
Yeah.
My brother had cassettes, so it was like that was what I was listening to. So I got that shit going on. So when I got the punk rock, I was like, that same thing, Nathan. I can fucking play that shit. Then my buddy Gilbert Strada, he was playing. He played guitar. He played like Johnny B. Good. So one day he got a fucking distortion pedal for Christmas.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what the fuck that was. It was a Fender distortion pedal. And he was stoked, and he called me on the telephone. He got a distortion pedal for Christmas. He was stoked, and I was like, "Whoa, who cares?" And he was like, I go, "What does it do?" And he goes, "Check this out." And he started playing. I guess it's a 6-pack or T-Party, Black Flag, and he's playing it. And he goes, "This is without the distortion pedal," and he plays it over the phone. I go, "All right, yeah, I've heard you play that before." This is with the distortion pedal. And he plays it, and I was like, fuck. And I go, you can't hear your mistakes.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah.
I can do that. Like, this is the kind of shit I can do. Like, I can do this shit.
Yeah.
So I
You
was like,
couldn't hear the
yeah, it was like,
mistakes.
yeah.
I like
So I was
that.
like, you know what I mean? I can do this. So it was like, at that point, I was like, I want to, and hanging out with everybody, I wanted to be in the band and do something. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but yeah. So I started
Yes.
doing some guitar shit, whatever, little bass things here and there. But yeah.
Mhm.
So I took guitar in high school, and I started really getting into classical guitar. So that just
Okay.
But at that time, I was already starting to jam.
Yeah. So it just
So I-
it leaned
I was
into-
like,
yeah.
it was just like thrown into the mix.
Mhm.
Here you go. Like I've been playing for like 6 months. So here, join the Hershey Squares. Like what the fuck? And just like jump in and get like on the job training.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Just
that's
like
When you
that.
think about it, I mean, there's nothing, you know, when you want to make music and you want to hear yourself play and you want to play for others, you want to play with others.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to be into
It
in the
fucking is,
day, back in the
absolutely.
day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than being, you know,
We were able to see like bands like Metallica. They just wear jeans
Yeah.
and, you know, denim leather. You know, just a
Yeah.
simple band. that we're able to fucking start making something special. And just like you each mentioned that you saw somebody play something, it's like, I can do that.
Yeah,
and that's how I felt
Yeah.
too. It's like, I can do that shit. But it was Gene Simmons who I saw.
Yeah.
But I was like, I want to do what he's doing, the spitting blood and
Do you
fucking,
remember
wearing a costume.
Do you
and
remember
painting my face?
we went to you and I went to Hamlin Junior High together, right?
Yeah,
So do you
Yes.
remember Marcus Hinojosa?
of course.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Marcus.
Well, you know what's
yes.
crazy about that is that one time he said, "Come over to my place and listen to some records I got," you know.
Uh-huh.
And so we walked all the way across Sherwood Park because he was over there on the other side of Doty or something like that near Galahart
Yeah.
from Hamlin, you know. And I was like, "Yes, I really just want to go home. I want to go home and jerk off, take a nap, or whatever."
Yeah.
So, but I remember he had like his whole walls were just like plastered
yeah.
with like because they like
everything
stole
from hip paraders.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And he was
Made
listening
it green.
and he was listening to Exciter and
Yeah.
and fucking Metallica and fucking Slayer and all this fucking crazy shit. But now this is the crazy thing though. He pulled out a vinyl record, dude, and then we put it on. It was
Skid Row.
In Excess Shabu Shabbat.
Bullshit.
It was like, yeah, I'm completely bullshit lying right now, actually. No, no, that didn't happen.
Okay.
It's like, don't tell nobody I like this
Right.
song.
No.
No, but rest in peace, Marcus. Yeah,
I love
Oh,
it.
dude.
it was a badass fucking album.
Marcus
Yeah.
grew up right down the street from me, man. Me and Marcus were like this.
Yeah.
And his brother Mike was the one that turned us all on the
Yeah, yeah.
Slayer, Metallica, Destruction. And I still run into Mike every Sunday over here at the Walmart.
Is
Dude.
that right?
Oh, good people.
Hey, Marcus, you know, so I remember he used to catch me in the courtyard over there by the with his buddies, all his headbanger buddies.
yeah.
And
And he got good.
He'd
at
go like
guitar,
this. He'd
dude.
go like this, like way like below me, and then he'd just like jump he would jump up onto the concrete bench,
yeah.
and he would jump off and do like a wrestling move, like because you have to for the payback.
Okay.
Yeah. Boom! And it was like, ah! I was like, and then now it's part two on the same right here.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, it must be fun taking these fucking smoke breaks, dude. Like,
Yeah, right.
I didn't smoke dope until I was like 19, so like I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it was already
But yeah,
after high
rest in
school.
peace, Marcus, man, wherever you're at, dude.
Oh,
Shit.
no, man. Oh,
And that's some shit, though.
it ain't some shit.
Hey, that
I know,
crazy
man.
hair with his big old glasses, you know?
Yes, bro.
Big
I
old
know.
denim shirt with the fucking metal. It's like, man, he was the quintessential headbanger, dude. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Along with
The denim jacket.
Joey Espinosa much?
Joey,
about
too.
that, dude?
Yeah.
Hypnotic
Yeah.
State Joey.
Hypnotic State, bro.
Shout out to Joey.
Damn.
He's still alive and
He's
kicking
a
and up
blues
there in
bastard.
Austin.
Yeah, is
Doing
that
his
right?
thing, Yeah.
I think I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
man.
still badass. Yeah.
Great
Don't
guys.
forget Mucus Membranes.
Yes, so
Most
that
of
of course we got to give Michael Pettis a shout out right there because he's a part of all that too. The Hypnotic State years.
Don't
and,
forget Mark Salas and Bruce. What's up?
Yeah, Mark
Yeah,
Salas,
Mark
right?
Salas, yeah.
Bruce.
Damn.
So like when you mentioned
Malignancy
Dillo,
much? What, you know,
yeah,
your
my guys
first
in
main
Malignancy,
band?
yes, man, Chris Gomez
Beat on that comp.
and Tito, and that was a band that I first started singing with because
Yeah.
Tito was 16, but he's playing fucking Slayer,
Yeah.
the War Ensemble already. It's
Yeah.
like I'll never be able to play War
Whatever
Ensemble on
happened-
drums.
Who was
Shit.
in and whatever happened to Apparition? Because I always thought that was a badass name.
Oh, dude, I know that was
Yeah.
Henry,
Yeah.
Devastation Henry.
Yeah.
He moved to Austin, and I
Uh-huh.
think it just started working.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just
I
kind of
saw
one
him
of those
play
things
at the
that kinda
Yellow
just-
Rose one time.
Oh, great
Apparition.
band, yeah.
It's one of those
Apparition.
big festivals.
I think Jaime was the drummer
Yeah.
back then.
Nighthawk Sound going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oscar
Shit.
Guillermo on bass
So it's
back
just-
then. Yes,
yeah.
dude. Good times. And they even opened up for Cannibal Corpse back
Yeah.
in the day over there at the Flamingo right by the LA.
Oh my god.
Man over there. Good time, man. Great bands, great
Yeah.
bands.
Cannibal Corpse and stuff.
So while we're thinking about
Yeah.
some of these bands, before I go to my next question, let's throw out some more bands. Who did you like going and see when we go to shows? I would love going to see Anchor Watt all the time. I love seeing Devastation.
Yeah.
I love seeing DMZ. That was another good one
Oh,
and they were like from Houston,
Larry's
right?
band.
Larry's band,
Yeah.
right?
DMZ, he ended up moving to Houston and forming Childman.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
Childman.
Child Man.
Right, with Spike and
Yes.
I guess I would just go to any local
Yeah.
punk rock show.
yeah.
I mean,
Usually it was our friends.
Yeah.
in one of the in almost every one of the bands, right?
You go to all the shows, whatever. I mean, there's
Pure Hate was great.
There was standouts.
Yeah. Was that Mark Wee on guitar back then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first iteration of Pure Hate was amazing, man. They were, it seemed like they were tuned at like E flat, and they played with Art Aguilar on vocals, James Dosey and Tony DeGan, and Raul Garza, and they played at the
remember the Gavan.
They played at Gavan Ballroom.
Cerebral Distortion.
Yeah,
the skinheads from
chairs.
SAK.
Oh my god. Screwed Nosedive coming in from San Antone.
Heavy fucking show.
San Antone bands would come in and just
melee.
like, a lot of times San Antone bands would come in and just
Nazi it up.
Well,
They would, dude.
well,
At the Elks.
they kind of,
was
the
another one.
blast.
One of my first shows. Yeah, I think it was like Crippled by Society.
Oh,
or something.
CBS.
Yeah,
they brought a lot of dickheads down. This one dickhead.
With flags.
Yeah.
Full of
Bro,
flags.
what
Like,
the
what the
fuck?
fuck?
They got outnumbered though. After they
Like, I don't want to name names particularly, but there was this one fuckhead that came down.
Yeah.
And his name rhymes with Shitfield.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about. He shows up to a show at the Boys Club, right?
Yeah.
I guess he was working at In-N-Out Burger or something like that. You know, he didn't change his work costume.
Yeah.
You know, he comes up and there's a small little pit of like people like watching a band play. I don't know if it was like Subversion. It was an opening band, you know, and he goes and he runs up and he flips this dude over.
Oh shit.
Right. And we know the guy. I can't remember his name, but I've talked to Pretty Boy Adrian about it once recently.
Did he like it?
And he knows that he's gonna see this and go, man, what the fuck? You can't remember my name. But he flipped him over, and the guy landed on his head, right? Dude. And I was like, and that's when I realized, wow, man, what a bullshit, coward, asshole, dickhead, mama's boy, maladjusted, tiny little dick of a man this guy is.
What a
dude.
dick, yeah.
I know, but everybody was just kind of like, fuck,
What
man, I
the
hope
fuck?
that doesn't happen to me. Because he was like 30.
Yeah, dude.
Getting big and
What
tall.
the
Like,
fuck?
everybody's kind of like,
what
oh,
the fuck is this
shit.
kid fucking
Yeah.
for at the show?
It's like, you know, so I was like, oh, man, like.
Where's the local badass over our, to represent and go put this motherfucker in place?
Eventually it happened, but
Yeah.
that's another story.
Yes. Oh, man, I remember that one, dude, because,
Yeah,
that was fucking dirty. That was
hey,
so fucking dirty.
Adrian had to come in and start taking.
yeah, that's right. He did. Adrian did actually start, you know, sheriffing up.
Cleaning house.
Yeah.
Sure. Hey, things will get fucking crazy and stupid. Yeah. But not all the time.
Yeah.
Not all the time, but
Yeah.
but Corpus has definitely had a reputation of being violent. You know, if you go see Slayer wherever they're playing here in town, or the Pavilion or Johnny Land, it's gonna get crazy. Pantera, it's gonna get real crazy. Lamb of God, it's gonna go get real crazy. Something about Corpus versus San Antonio and Houston and Austin, and those. Don't get me wrong; those shows are packed.
I've seen some crazy shit,
but they don't really go into dickhead mode.
Slayer,
where people are just
like
Zona Rosa. God hates us all tour.
There was 2 nights, and the first night there was ambulances there. There was fucking people getting fucked up.
It was ridiculous. Why are they playing such a small place?
Yeah,
What the fuck? They're right there playing in front of Tom.
Yeah,
The stage is like a foot or two too tall. Yeah, I
Yeah.
made it to one of those shows that night.
Wow.
I was like, couldn't believe it.
That was awesome.
It was
Old
awesome,
school
man.
shit, man.
Yeah, man. But how about some other names? Remember some other names from back in the day?
I
I remember you mentioned Killjoy. That was another great one.
Yeah.
What about like
Joy
Stone-
Wax was
Joy
cool.
Wax?
Shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
Joy Wax.
I mean,
And
we
Big Mouth came up.
Yeah, Big Mouth. There's a flyer of us, and I always
So the crayons were
blown
always
about it,
something.
Yes.
So
yeah.
the crayons had a cassette, and later in life, Richard told me that he wanted to fill up the cassette, so it was just him playing the bass lines to the songs,
Yeah.
and I would play that and try to play along. Like,
Uh-huh.
okay, I could learn this shit right here, and that's kind of got me into that shit. You know what I mean? Like the bass work of it was Richard Guerrero. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out Richard and the whole Guerrero family, man, for giving us a place like TFC.
Yeah.
They saw what was going on in other
That's
places. You know what I mean? We
labor
need
of
this.
love for Roger. He doesn't
It is.
give a shit about.
I know it's all about a labor of love, and I love those guys for doing
Yeah,
it.
the
Even
crayons
Moms
are
goes
the
out there.
OGs, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like that was, and that spawned a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That spawned a lot of different things. You know what I mean?
Yes, I see them every week. I'm one of their best customers. Absolutely.
That's cool, man.
And then Christmas time, I'm there at least 2 times a week, you know, with the lineup and stuff getting
My
over
son
there.
he recorded there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
kind of cool. Kind of coming back
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
So he recorded
It's
there.
too good when it
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
back around.
Yeah, that's
Gary.
pretty
Yeah,
rad.
what a blessing. Well, let me ask you this. Come back to you, Nathan. What was your first concert? And then what was your first show? If you remember your first show.
That I played?
No, that you went to a local
The first
show.
show that I went to.
First national, like say Coliseum, you know, concert, and then
so
underground.
The one that my mom actually let me go see was Triumph and Foghat.
Oh, that Never Surrender.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, what the hell?
That was the shit.
And I got a Triumph hat, right?
Oh yeah,
a trucker hat, and then one day somehow it ended up in the dryer and it melted the plastic chest thing. I was a little bit crushed.
Yeah,
but I lived through it. Then the next show, I was like, well, Mom, if you're going to let me go see Triumph, can you let me go see Iron Maiden, please?
Ooh.
So checked out Iron Maiden.
That's somewhere
Fast Way. No, Peace of Mind tour.
Peace of Mind.
Hell yeah, Peace of Mind.
Wow.
And was it Fast Way, Saxon, and Iron Maiden, and Axe, I think, played also. And then
legendary show.
I remember going also checking out Quiet Riot at the Coliseum.
Oh yeah.
Quiet Riot, and who opened with for those guys? I think it was Queen's Reich.
I think so. I
so.
think maybe an Axe.
Yeah,
Queen's Riot.
That's
Quiet
it.
Riot.
Well, no, Quiet Riot. No, Queen's Riot. I think opened up for Rad. I think.
Because I know Rad came here.
That was the Invasion of Your Privacy tour, right?
Oh, at the Coliseum.
Piercy had that big old like chrome wireless mic. You could see it from the nosebleeds. It's way back there. Like, wow.
One of the first wireless.
But I was all pussy. Like I didn't want to go up there and like because the first time I ever went to see a concert, my mom took me, and I remember like they're like these plainclothes dudes in these members only jackets, right? They're like holding on to some dude handcuffed to shit.
Oh,
you know,
shit.
And he's like
they're nards.
like bloodshot as fuck. I go, Mom,
what happened?
She's like, he's on drugs.
Yeah.
I'm like, drugs.
Drugs do that to you?
Dude, wow. Like, you know, so they were like always picking people out that were like, narcs, right?
Yeah. So
that along with the whole like thing with the the Bible people out in the front preaching and shit. Oh my God. But what else? I saw ZZ Top out in the Coliseum.
I got leaked bad.
And then you saw
first door right here.
Right.
Go ahead.
Here.
Go ahead.
Did you know?
No.
Okay. So he goes, so what was the other one, man? ZZ Top. And actually I went backstage at ZZ Top because my mom knew those guys.
Yeah.
In 1983, the Eliminator tour.
Ooh,
it was crazy. Yeah.
They were huge.
And oh my God. So there's a whole like weird interwoven history with those guys and my parents back in Houston, right? So that's a whole different.
That's a whole different.
Buy me
show.
beer and I'll tell you all about it, right? So, so what happened was, then shows like what is it? So that whole era of concerts, big concerts, was awesome. But but then I got into punk rock and I didn't really.
We didn't go to those anymore.
No, I stayed. No,
it wasn't as appealing.
It wasn't. No,
yeah.
It stayed in the. I stayed in the garage, working on stuff and like planning the attack and everything. And then, like I said, the Willies. I did notice there were hardcore shows happening, like MDC at TNT.
Yeah.
And this band, this crazy band like Anchor Watt. Like, then they played the Stardust Ballroom. And like, oh my God, the word on the street was like, have you even heard? Anchor Watt just completely blew everybody's ass out of the water. Like, wow, cool. But I still want to play in a punk band.
Yeah.
So that was the first show that I ever went to was Anchor Watt and Devastation.
Oh, and the SummerSlam session?
Yes.
Ronnie Corpse?
Part 2. No, with Antichrist from Annabelle.
Oh.
And the Willies.
And the Willies. Yeah.
That was the first show I went to.
Oh, shit.
And somebody come up with the idea to play the Beverly Hillbillies. Of course, I was super hyped up. So songs that I would start were fast. And, Chris is just like, dude. But he kept up. That was the thing about him, man. He could keep up. Chris, he could keep up.
Right.
You know?
Hell yeah.
But that was the first show I ever went to. Yeah, it was that one. It was the one, the first one I ever played, and then beyond that was, you know.
Yeah, we can't even keep up. I know what you mean, because it was almost like almost every weekend.
I appreciate guys, you know, like Sergio, you know. He's like coming up with like flyers and
Sergio Elizondo, shout out.
Yeah, shout out to him, man, for bringing up, you know.
Just recognizing it and bringing that back to life. You know what I mean?
And even more mind-blowing is when you go back and you look at all those bands that played at the Ritz.
Yeah.
Like, really? Those guys came through here? Like, Phil the Mosher could tell you about all that.
Yes,
you know?
Exactly. And I want to get Phil on the show, too, because he's got some great stories.
Yeah.
Yes, I know he's got some great stories.
Get him on before he loses it.
Yeah, before his memory goes. But he's good. He can remember a lot of shit.
Yes.
He's got a lot up there, man. He's
big
smart.
time. And I love Phil.
Yeah.
So your turn now, Jerry. You didn't use the restroom?
I'm good for
I don't remember shit, really.
Your first concert?
Yeah, it was a punk rock show. I'm pretty sure because my parents wouldn't let me go to big shows.
Oh, okay.
Allowed
it was like that. Okay.
I don't think I went to like an arena type show
until you moved out.
Yeah, until I was older.
No shit. Okay.
And
so what was
I'm not a big fan still to this day of like arena shows. I don't get off on that shit.
You don't want to go pay $150.
Well, no, not the money. It's just
it's
the spectacle to me isn't that big a deal. I don't want to see that shit. Pyrotechnics and shit. I'm not into that, and they're just too far away. I like a fucking club. I see them in a fucking bar.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean,
I got a lot of love for that.
I can't even think. I can't even imagine what my first arena show was. I mean, I know one of them was like maybe in Houston. We went to the Summit and saw me and my wife and I think Biddle. We saw the Beastie Boys.
Yeah. You caught the Beastie Boys
with John Spencer Blues Explosion and the Roots.
And the Roots.
That was the day after we saw Luscious Jackson at
the Abyss.
The Abyss.
Yeah.
With the Lunatics. Yeah. And that show was 10,000 times.
Yeah, it was way cooler.
Or Sabotage.
It was kick-ass.
And so the show before at the Abyss had 60 people there.
Yeah,
was fucking 1,000 times better. Than the Summit show. Even though the Summit show was cool, but John Spencer Blues Explosion didn't belong on that fucking arena stage. They just did it. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's like you're up in there and you're sitting next to these assholes, whatever. It's like I've never really been a fan of that. You know, I've gone. I try not to.
Yeah.
Like I want to go see. I saw Janet Jackson. Like fuck yeah, and that's an arena show.
Yeah.
Like I'll sit there and watch that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go see them. Like every time I see Iron Maiden or whatever, I'm like, fuck, they just look like fools up there, like Speedbag and Eddie, whatever his balls. I was like, what is this fucking, Benny Hill or some shit? That's running around, air humping fucking amps and shit. I'm like, man, this totally does not look.
$25
like
T-shirts,
cool.
like what the fuck?
No, $25.
$50
Yeah, 50, bitch.
Nowadays, back in the 80s, they were like
so,
money.
I've always been bar, club, fucking shows.
What was your first
I hate festivals.
local show then? Do you remember?
I want to say it was that show where I got punched in the stomach. Is it Daraza? I believe it was a Crippled by Society show.
Oh
shit!
And one of those fuckers with that big flag just hit me right in the fucking stomach. I was like outside of the pit. And
so it was like Anchor One at CBS and FIH.
I think so. Yes.
Yeah. Oh shit!
I think
that
so.
show.
I think that was one of my first ones.
Well, that's one of the flyers.
I had to miss a lot of shows before that because my mom just wouldn't let me go. You know what I mean? I remember Chris Chopper going to pick up people in the neighborhood.
He had a car.
Him and guy had like a 4-door Nova or something. And he came and he was picking up. He had Gilbert Gomez at the time, and he had like crazy nailed up hair. I had nails. Chris had long hair, and he was picking up like my buddy Rob Guillen. And hey, what about that guy?
Big hatchback.
How come he's not going? And it was like, I was like on my skateboard, his mom won't let him go. I was like, well, look at him. It was like a punk rock dude. And I was like, yeah, that guy needs to get in the car. I was like, nah, I can't. Sorry. Mom won't let me. I was like, fuck it. That's how punk rock I was.
Yeah, hey. Well, it was just a matter of time. You just had to catch up. And you had to break away from mom's grasp. And that's not always so easy. My parents got divorced by the time I was 6. I was raised by my mom. But I got to spend every other weekend with my dad. And it was, my dad and my mom they know I've been playing a bunch of, I guess you call it devil music. It's integrity devil music, kill 'em more devil music. But of course, I've never write music about the devil or anything like that. But it gets that stereotype. But what I'm trying to say is they don't go to my concerts. They've never gone. My dad went one time.
My parents have never been to one of our shows. My mom or dad.
See, I don't know. Now I don't feel so bad because I'm not the only one.
Either,
yeah. Well, I'm not facing the camera for this one. I'm going to share this story, and I was saving it for the book. But I had a band called Aggravated Assault. That was the first band I played drums for. Yeah, that's right. And then has
Fuck Off and Die.
Yes, Fuck Off and Die. Wow. And Tim Abel, shout out Tim Abel. He lives in San Antonio still.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Matt McLain, rest in peace. He's not with us anymore. And then Albert De Leon. And we opened up for Annihilator over there at the Air Civic Center. And so we're the first band. And so Tim's up there, and we had a song called Cops Suck. And so he announced it. All right, this one go. Well, maybe backtrack a second. My dad shows up right before we start. And
you
he's
were
there
playing
with another
drums.
friend.
Yes,
I'm
long
playing
hair.
drums. Yeah.
Drums.
And it was a little 5-piece, little PTS, little drum set. I bought it for like $125 with the money that I got from my house burning down and me claiming a bunch of shit got destroyed. So the insurance money paid for my first drum set. So anyway, I'm playing and we do a couple of songs. My dad's there looking, he's having a drink. He's there with a friend of his. And then we come to the song where the song's called Cops Suck. And Tim, all right, this one goes out to the fucking Corpus Christi Police Department. They all fucking suck. They're fucking corrupted. This one's called Cops Suck. And we start playing up. Oh, man, it was like I saw the death ray, dude, from my dad. Like, I'm going to kill you. Oh, you had it. And so I'm playing. We get through the set. We get through the song. I didn't want to look back. By the time I look back, he's gone. And so I'll go and spend the weekend with my dad that weekend. And everything's cool. Everything never gets mentioned. But then on the way home, when he drops me off, I want you to quit that piece of shit band. Don't you ever fucking play with that band again? I can't believe you disrespected me like that. And I felt bad.
Was he a cop?
Yes.
Oh,
okay. He was retired.
I think I missed that part.
I missed that part. I missed that detail, yes. So much respect. My dad was a hardcore police officer and it retired after 30 plus years. And anyway, at that point, that was the first, he came out to see it. The first time he came to come see me play, he was like, hey, I'm going to go see him. It's going to be great. Oh, man, Tim puts me out there like that.
Honestly, no, but to me, it's heartwarming.
Yeah.
It's a heartwarming story.
That's
it is.
crazy.
But,
it's hilarious shit.
It kept him away from my shows for the next 3 decades.
That's funny.
He never came until I did a Christmas show. And it's like, come on, give it a chance. It's a Christmas show.
I'm not going to say shit about cops.
Right. It's all good. Without me having to say it, he knew that I had outgrown maybe whatever was going on back then. But
my parents didn't ever want to go to see the show. They were just like, nah, I don't like that kind of shit. You know what I mean? My dad's into like Willie Nelson and my mom's into Motown.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up, is listening to that shit. So so it's like they're like, yeah, well, there's no reason to go.
And you know what? It never stopped us. And that never stopped us from doing everything we wanted to. You know what I mean?
I was like, I'm totally fine with that. Like, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not like, oh, I wish I had my verification.
Whether it's a drum set or guitars and stuff, did you guys have to earn every fucking instrument you had by one way or another?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
right?
my dad started buying me some shit. I have every instrument that I've ever.
Yeah, the melody.
You have them?
I still keep
that
them
is
on
badass.
I don't sell anything. It's a bit hoarder.
Talking about memorabilia, man.
But I keep that shit because it was given to me.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna fucking sell a gift or whatever like my dad gave me or my mom gave me, whatever. I mean, even have the pink fucking Hurricane.
Oh man,
Miami. We were living in Miami.
That was a beaut, yeah.
And it was like, we were there and we found it at a pawn shop.
Anyway,
so
I couldn't stop.
My mom bought it. They had those little lips, sticker lips on it. Whatever. It was a pink face called a Hurricane.
Yeah, it was kind of like
a song called Hurricane.
Yeah. Sure enough,
it deserved its own song.
It had,
it
had dual purpose.
Somebody all broke it with his belly for real.
Yes.
And so Freddie and Chris Garcia tried to fix it, but it never worked the same. I just have it hanging in the jam room.
I wrote down some lyrics because I love them and I think they're very timely. And it's you probably could figure what line I like if I just tell you the name of the track. So, 10 High Shocker.
Flour tortilla.
Yes, bro.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it like that? You know what I mean?
Well,
because when I heard it, I was like, that's Corpus, man. That's my town, and I love it. That's cool.
So I have to kind of like give you the
What?
backstory.
Yeah, give me a little background on
I know
that.
you're
That's
looking
really
for that.
cool. Yeah.
So 96, 95, 96, we're back in town. We got the Weekend magazine going on.
Oh yeah,
And
Weekend magazine.
And we're
yes.
kind of throwing ourselves out there trying to get back into the grind of playing at bars and playing it, because there's no more boys club, there's no more
right.
you know,
that kind of
all ages
fizzled out.
venue shit. That's all gone.
We
bar
were getting older
We're
too.
like 21.
Yes,
Right.
22.
22
We
or
can
whatever,
drink now. We're gonna be a bar band now. All right,
Yes.
can you know?
We're
And it's like,
graduating.
and
yeah.
then people are just like slamming the door in our face, man.
Okay.
At every fucking turn. And as like,
You're too heavy. You're not heavy enough.
no, you know, frustration. Well, it's basically, you know, and I thought about, you know, I look at the Weekend magazine and who's playing here? Los Norteños de Guavas, or you know, the wild Apache, blah blah blah. All these Tejanos, because it's huge. Don't forget,
It's huge here.
It was massive. It was like that's all anybody was hiring.
Yeah.
You know, frustrated, and that it kind of came out of frustration, but it's essentially it's a love letter, because I love flour tortillas and they smell good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're cheap.
It reminds me of grandma.
Yeah.
You know,
You
it's all
tear it in
it's
half. It's
comfort.
like, yeah, you can feel like you can wrap it up, and it's like that's the other thing. I feel comfortable here in knowing that, like, you know,
That's some
and everything
awesome
that goes
poetry
into
right there.
it. You know,
Yes.
it's a love letter, but it's also a metaphor for comfort and just satisfaction of being in a town that you can land in, and everybody's your buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll love it, maybe they won't. They loved it. I was like, do you really like this? Because I mean, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
You know, so that, but you know, that it kind of ushered in a new era of writing. So of like, let's just try different shit, you know. And so that's kind of like, you know,
It was fresh out of Houston into Corpus.
yeah, back into
Flour
Corpus,
tortilla.
Yeah.
because it has the jalapeno stink to it. You know what I mean? You know?
Well,
But yeah,
buddy, like when we played with the Go to Hells, and Edo was like, "What is this Tejano?"
Yeah.
Tejano stuff. Because I was
We're
more
hearing
popular.
about
So they pay so and so. Maybe we should start one of those bands. We're like, nah, don't do that.
What about this other one right here?
no
real quick?
disrespect whatsoever. I mean, you know, it's part of the
No, I
heritage.
didn't. Not at all.
You know what
He
I
was
mean?
dead serious.
Yeah,
I know.
I'm all out of love.
Sorry, he wanted to make
Oh.
money.
Yeah,
All out of love right there.
yeah.
And shout out to my favorite taco place, Chacho's Tacos.
Chacho,
Yes, yeah.
Potato and gravy, baby.
I don't want to be conflict of interest.
And
So
it
I'm
has-
staying out of that
Chacho's
one.
has damn good omelets, by the way.
Oh, I need to try
I
one.
know. My wife loves the omelets over there.
Did you have some more lyrics that you want to ask about?
Well, I actually like a line that comes out of the song "Badass Hot Horse Spanish."
Mhm. AKA Bang House War. Yeah, which one?
Well, I think it's a line that all of us musicians can we kind of want to.
Baby, this is what I do. I can't
I'm
drop
telling
it
you,
off.
that's right. There's so much to that. You know what I mean? Because if you've had a chick at one time, and you know whether we've met them through making music or not, we end up. It's who we are, and we're gone. You know, we don't always have the luxury of being able to rehearse at our own house.
Yeah.
You know,
So we got to go there.
in
we're
those
gonna leave.
like we talked about this 10 months where we practiced relentlessly. I was dating this gal, and I don't want to, you know, we were solid. We were friends. We're still friends. And she got a little butthurt about, you know, never getting to see me, you know, enough, and we didn't get to, you know,
Hang out.
Yeah,
Like other couples might.
which is code for, you know, yeah, hanging out. But I sensed a little bit of resentment and everything like that. But you know, she really wasn't that pissed off about it.
Okay.
But I saw an angle there, you know. I was like, oh, you know, this would be kind of cool. And again, there's still some angst and there's some sort of frustration. It's probably the more serious songs we've written, you know what I mean? But I knew it would strike a chord with everybody who's got a significant other.
Yeah.
It gets a little bit bent. Because look, when you walk out of the door and you got your electric guitar, I'm going to the gig, that guitar, and she's not going,
Yeah.
it's kind of, that guitar is might as well just have
it did.
a chick inside of the damn thing.
Talk about baby, right?
It's a threat.
It did somehow become like a little like anthem for other bands.
Right.
They were like, I want to hear that song because it resonated with other
Yes,
bands. Other
bro.
guys in other bands were like, hey man, like that song, like
That's
I
my jam.
fucking
That's my jam.
like, you know, it's not a love song.
Right.
It's not a fucking like a drinking and whatever the fucking party song. It's just a fucking song about rocking out.
And it's a testament to how passionate you are about it.
Right.
Absolutely. If you can't get behind it, hey man, hit the bricks, pound sand.
Yeah, I know,
Or
right?
deal with it, because this is what I basically do.
Yeah.
Can't drop it all for you. I've been at it for a long time, and I just can't drop it all. I just can't drop the ball.
That's right.
Because if I drop the ball, everybody's going to go.
You're letting everybody down, man.
Now, it's not to say that there's always going to be conflict when it comes to this kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
But and it is a taboo issue, so I think we put it
It's when you
encapsulated.
When you die, though, it's rock and roll is my epitaph.
It's right. It's right. And
My bar still is my
when we were
headstone,
writing
rock
it,
and roll is my
when we
epitaph,
were
that's it.
one night like I said, we were writing it one night, you know, and we're just like struggling with the end of that second verse, dude. Like, you know, and then Chris, remember, he says, sarcastic girly remarks from you, whatever, no way. We were like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Sarcastic, whatever. And he's like, cool. Yeah,
It's
that's
a
how.
keeper.
Yeah. So we all wrote it together as a band, and it was like, yeah, it was one of our. You know,
Yeah.
that was the Platinum Series.
We are playing.
Platinum
We're
series,
playing
yeah.
that song on Wednesday. Actually,
Nice.
That song you just spoke of, yeah.
What about Chiron? What is Chiron?
Chiron.
Is that a name?
Chiron is weird.
You
Chiron.
remember the talk shows
Yeah.
back in the day? It was
Yeah.
fucking insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a
We're
song
like Jerry
called-
Springer kind of.
Yeah, we had a song called "Those Stupid Sensationalistic Talk Shows" like Geraldo,
Right.
but there was a shit ton of. I mean, everybody had a fucking talk show.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
All of them do.
crazy. There was
Yes.
one called the Roe Show, right? A Rolanda show.
Dude. Oh my
And
God.
I saw an episode
Yeah.
with Chiron.
Well, she's kind of
Oh wow.
this guy on the panel. His name is Chiron, and she's stumbling down, about to take her mic to an audience member, and she's, well, I don't think they're alone, Chiron. And that I was like, that's a lyric though, isn't it?
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
And so in the deciphering of the madness of what's happening on the TV screen, and they're feeding us this bullshit, you know, I come up with these weird lyrics because it was my only stab at like da 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 da, and then like he helped out with some of the lyrics too, and then we all like wrote it as a song, but we knew it was going to be a really aggressive, punchy song.
Yeah.
You know, but it didn't even really. Actually, what's funny about it was it didn't even flesh out until after we recorded the. It didn't make it on the first record, but then we like worked it up, and it's like, let's have a good, big, huge grabber for Bring the Cherries, and that's how that kind of ended up. And
No wonder that came out as the first track.
yeah, because it was like it's one of those big, heavy. Now that I got your
It's been
attention,
written before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few of them. Like I
Yeah.
wrote that song Conco's like
Mhm.
in 1995, 94, 95, and it was completely
Yeah.
different.
yeah,
And I was trying to rework it until we finally reworked it.
Yeah.
And like, hey, just help me fucking do this because I'm stuck and I'm writing
Yeah.
a stupid thing now. It's becoming ridiculous. So when we were recording Bring the Cherries,
right.
it got on that because we had rewritten it.
Yeah.
Some of the
I'd
songs,
written it like 10 years before that.
some of the songs took years to write.
Yeah.
Years.
Wow, man.
Like,
Years, literally.
Dude, literally, like, I mean,
They were still changing and morphing.
with
Dude,
weird
right.
riffs
Yeah.
way back, ruminating,
Yeah.
and then waiting for like, okay, here comes that. Bring it in. This song has been waiting for this riff.
Wow.
You know,
yeah.
You know, and so we plug them in.
Is that what you mean, like the Platinum Series?
Yeah, well, yeah, Platinum, yeah. The greatest hits record is I don't know what it's gonna have on it, but it'll probably be an EP.
Yeah, shut up. Hell no. Hell no.
No.
It's gonna be a double live and album and shit.
Yeah.
That'd be badass.
I think it's gonna be good. Yeah. But what up? But ask more because this is a great topic, man.
No, but I just barely stumbled upon a few.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I really wanted to pick your brain on some of those because it highlights the unpredictable writing that you have. You know, because you can read, you can hear everything you're saying. You know, and I think that's one of the best things about you guys is that his style of singing is easy. It's like I said, it's not like Iron Maiden where you're trying to hit those high notes, but it's very easy to get into, and it's melodic and it goes with the jams, and it makes sense, and that's what you guys are really have your own niche, but it's high powered energy when it hits the stage too, with everybody going in and with Chris hitting everything. It's just, with you line up, with you three up in front, always look great. You know, there's always a lot of energy, and you know, back in the day, they would mix up shows where it would be Sweet Daddy's Integrity, you know, playing over at Backdrafts or EJs or something, just because we were all buds and we just wanted to get a show together. And it's like, hey, are you available at that time? Fuck it, let's get it together. We got a date. We just need to get our bands together. So it was great not really having any, there were no rules. We were just kind of taking what we grew up back in the 80s, and just anybody's band just coming together and just doing a show. But now we're able to drink. We're some of us maybe already starting having families. You know.
Yeah.
How old were you when you had your kid?
I was old.
Old. Okay. I was 25 when I first had Jasmine.
I had my first child at 35.
35. Okay.
One at 40.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm still. All my buddies have grandkids, and I still have an 11-year-old.
Ah, there's a beauty in that.
He'll be 12 March 6th.
Yeah.
But my other one's 16. He'll be 17. But
yeah.
I started late. But I think if I'd have started any earlier, I would not know those kids. You know what I mean? I was a piece of shit.
Oh shit! You know what? Life.
It was the same thing. I didn't get married till later on with the same girl I'd been with. It was just if we would have got married, it would have been. We wouldn't have been together still.
How many kids do you have, Nathan?
I got the one. I got my little girl. She's amazing. She just turned 21, and she's an artist, and she's really, really, really got her shit together. It's great.
Isn't it great?
She's like, she's my hero, man. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to say it, man. I mean,
start jamming.
Yeah. No shit.
Right. Yeah, I got my boy jamming. Yeah. With Spread of Corruption, and then the other one's just now in bands. So he's playing, band instruments right now. But eventually, they've been playing piano since they were kids. So.
Oh man, I tell you, there's nothing like seeing our kids do a little bit of something that we do, and then we see a little bit of ourselves. Like, oh man, I hope they keep it up. I want them to be able to feel like what we felt. You know, when we jamming with our friends in our bands. That kind of magic.
My mom asked me. She said to me a long time ago when I was a kid, she said, there are two types of people in this world. There are producers and there are listeners. And it's your choice. Do you want to be a producer or do you want to be a listener? And I was like, I can't listen also? But,
right.
It's like, well, I would rather much. Yeah. She could really fuck with your mind a lot. But I did want to be the guy that I mean, and I've always been a team player with bands, and yes, there are outside influences of bands that we enjoy a lot and sometimes unanimously enjoy, but I've always thought that the best thing to do is really just draw upon your style as that you've kind of turned into, and then form your own magic, through that. You know what I'm saying, baby? You know what I'm saying?
I know. Because I try to be something that I'm not, and then before you know it, I'm back to where I'm most comfortable at.
And then I'd rather be on stage than to watch somebody on stage.
I'm telling you, man. Yeah.
Anybody on stage. I'd rather be on stage.
And if we're not on stage, we're out there busting ass, working, or cooking dinner, or putting the clean dishes away, or but. Sometimes
that's part of it,
but sometimes you got to get out. Like I like to get out and go see bands sometimes. Yeah, especially lately. Now that kids old enough to, I don't have to be at home supporting. Right. I mean, family. Yeah. When it's family, there's a certain protocol you got to follow, and and you're not gonna ever give up doing what you're doing, but it's it's priority, and at this age, we're you know, we can't really get as crazy, even though sometimes we do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know, but yeah, man. You know,
I'm telling you, we've had a blessing to be able to see this ride as long as we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you guys, you need to take care of yourselves because we still want to do another 30 years or more of this.
Wait a minute. 30.
Another 30, right?
Yeah, 25, 27.
As much as I wish we could live to be 100,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know how my body's going to be at 100. Shit.
I don't know, man. I remember seeing you like running, bro.
Man.
And
dude,
you're like playing drums while you're running,
yes,
like down Staples.
That was me until I got bit by a fucking pit bull while I was out running.
No way.
Yes, I got 14 stitches on the back of my leg.
So you ride the bike.
Yes, yeah. Now I'm bike riding. Gotta get away from the fuckers.
Yeah,
Man, it ruined it for me. It was during COVID.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, bro, and I'm traumatized by it.
Oh,
I'm fucking traumatized. I had my headphones on. I'm running down my car, and all of a sudden. Dillo, thank you, brother.
What's up, Dillo?
Yeah, I know you're trying to call, but I can't answer right now.
Yeah.
But if that, I think maybe whenever we get a phone call, like I did earlier, I think that's what knocks the sound out. But I did catch it this time, so we're back on.
Fucking Dillo.
Yes, we love you, Dillo.
We haven't done a formal interview since just the other day. When it was a K-Rad 105.5. That was the last radio interview. I think.
Oh, K-Rad.
You know, we were at 92.7 for something or other.
Dill's or K-True.
Oh yeah,
here in town. Oh, maybe that was for the other band.
Oh, probably so. Yeah.
What, Hobo?
Hobo was
I think it was Noah and Beyonders.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh,
That was it. Noah and
I
Beyonders.
remember drinking and being downtown or Leopard or whatever.
Out there.
Yeah.
Those are good times, man.
Yeah.
When we had like local leagues.
This
the
was
K-Rad days.
This is just like 92.7. This new one.
Yeah. That was
I'd hope if 92.7 brings back some local music, a local show would be great.
Yeah.
It's I'm proud that they've been alive and standing, and doing great things, on top of C101 being the local big dog here for forever. But coming from a musician, we need that local show that's going to highlight some of these local bands. Even if it's 11 o'clock Sunday night.
Yeah, it's kind of rough, dude.
Something.
They throw some in the morning traffic.
Yeah.
Some shit.
It would be great. You know what I mean? It gives it, there's nothing like hearing your music on the radio.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
So guys like Monty back in the day, they had local licks. They would always play, bands that were sending their music. Gave everybody a chance to be heard.
Yeah.
And when you hear it out there, like, God, I can't wait to fucking record something else that we can put it back on there.
Yeah.
So there've been some good guys like Monty that have really kind of opened the doors for that. But I'd like to see somebody at 92.7 bring some kind of local show back. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
And there's so many, too many genres out there, right?
New kick-ass bands right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
A lot of great bands out there.
That would be radio friendly.
That would fit in there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So guys, we're getting getting ready to hit 2 hours. So I like to wrap things up within 2 hours. All right. I know we're talking for a bit.
We could do this all night too.
I know. That's what I told you guys. We're just gonna start talking.
Wait, what time is it? Is it
right now it is 9:52.
Oh, there's plenty of time to get a beer.
So real quick, Sergio's in the house. What's up, Sergio? He says,
Serge?
"What's up, guys? Can't wait to see you guys on Wednesday." Dale, Adrian Zamora, 2 hour shower.
Oh,
yeah. Broken again. Paul Kreutz. Hey, Paul. Thanks for tuning in again tonight. Let me see. Hector. Heck Waters. Hell yeah. He says, can't wait for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Heck. Knife Party. Professor Loser
Oh.
says that was a badass weekend. Luscious Jackson.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's there.
Gerald
You gotta-
Alvarez.
yeah.
Ourselves. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to need a beer. Yes. Thomas Gonzalez. Yes. Corpus Legends in the house. Guys, thanks for everybody been tuning in and joining us in the chat room. If you got a question for the guys, you got to make it quick, all right? I'm going to tune back in here in just a second, but I'm going to go back and start going into our Draw the Line segment. Almost a speed segment, all right? Because sometimes we can get into some details.
I'm just gonna say, don't
Yeah.
get mad at my. Because look,
Okay.
this thread's kind of back to my whole like, Sweet Daddy.
Yeah.
No, to be honest, Total Death Mechanics, the bands I've always been in. I'm not an egotist. I just don't have a whole lot of time to listen and collect as
Yes.
much as I do to try to
keep advancing your own.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yes.
yeah, but I'm, but let's just go ahead and see if we can do that.
Okay, let's check
All right.
it out. All right.
What is this again?
It's called Draw the Line. I'm going to
Okay.
give you a couple of bands,
Okay.
and you're going to tell me if they were both playing in town, which one would you go see?
Oh,
Who's your favorite out of
fuck.
the two?
Awesome.
So let's get started with these two. Clutch versus Corrosion of Conformity.
COC
COC?
I would.
all day.
Well, the new COC.
I'd see either version of COC over Clutch.
Yeah, it's COC
Okay.
all the way. Yeah,
A lot of energy right there.
I've seen Clutch do that song.
They rock.
Dude, what song?
You know that one song.
Jesus on the dashboard. Is that one?
I don't know.
That one
I
song,
grew up
yeah.
with COC, so
Yeah.
I'd be like,
That's
you
one
know,
song for the hour.
animosity. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I'm a child. They'd be like,
Fuck you. You don't play those anymore. fuckers.
Clutch is rad.
Yeah.
You hear the one song. I mean, the
yeah.
their opening song.
That's the
Yeah.
keeper right
And
there.
then
yeah.
you
No,
heard
the hit.
not their hit. Just that song.
That's
and the
it.
next song is the same.
The same
song,
fucking
third
song.
Oh, I
Same
get it.
song,
Yeah.
third song, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to keep this next two bands. We're going to keep it local. Anchor Watt versus Devastation. No one's feelings going to get hurt, all right? I know we all know all these guys. But
Well,
Anchor Watt, Devastation.
I've definitely seen Anchor Watt more
Mhm.
Okay,
than Devastation, and I'd like to catch more Devastation.
I like it.
You know what I mean?
Same. I mean, I saw Anchor Watt a lot, and I think
Yeah.
I already caught Devastation a couple of times.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more Devastation. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a true question because I love both those bands.
Right.
And I just had to bring up both their names.
Uh-huh.
You know what I
That's-
mean? We've
yeah,
got so much
sure.
love for all that history that
I
these
know.
guys have
Yeah,
brought.
that's why it's kind of
Open doors for all these local
it's
bands.
in there, and maybe you know, like if we go see them, I'll be like, hey, me, remember the first gig we ever played? They'd be like,
Wow.
what's your name again?
What's your-
Like, it's all right.
All right, next two 90s bands. Soundgarden versus Tool.
Oh, Soundgarden all the way.
Soundgarden, Chris
No,
Cornell.
fucking
Oh, one of the best voices
Yeah.
of the 90s and ever.
I saw
Chris.
Tool at the Lollapalooza that one
Yeah.
year.
Ooh,
and
that was the shit.
I'd never heard of them.
Yeah.
Who
This
the fuck
first
is
time
this
I saw
band? And they played like during the day, and
Yeah.
we were sitting there, and I was like, I don't mind this band. They had there was chicks showing their tits, and I hadn't seen that in forever because grunge wasn't a thing
Yeah.
that you did. So all the metal shit was kind of gone. It was all kind of grungy, and these guys kind of brought back the show your tits thing. So I was like, oh, this band's pretty cool.
I like these
The
guys.
Soundgarden, yeah, no, not Soundgarden.
Now, the only-
Out of the Love.
Yes.
I saw Tool Lollapalooza 3 with Dinosaur Jr.,
Mhm.
Primus. They were on that one.
Oh,
with Crystal
cool.
Fishbone, like all those
Yes.
other bands. Tool played, and I was just like, oh, okay.
I just saw the titties come out.
Yeah.
I was really big, that shit.
All right, next
Yeah,
two.
that sounds fun though.
You just mentioned it.
They were well. They
Primus.
were pretty. Oh, I did hear a song by Tool once at a bar, a
Uh-huh.
gentleman's club. It was called Requiem, I believe.
Okay. Long ass song.
Whatever the shit.
Yeah.
And the girl that was dancing had a routine,
Yeah.
little routine going on, and it was like I was like, God, I think it was
Routine.
at Peppers.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. And
Tuesday nights.
I was like,
$1
now, well, guess
club
what?
mix?
I was like, that's a cool Tool song.
Yeah.
Everything else is not
But that
gonna
was a
say it.
keeper.
I'm just gonna say, yeah, definitely. What was it? Soundgarden. Shit.
Soundgarden
Yeah.
all day.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, how about Melvins versus Primus?
Primus.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Primus because
Primus,
yeah,
okay.
I have the Melvins Houdini record, and that's
Sure.
like, you know, again, I gotta bunch of friends. Who
I'm
love
not
the
going to
Melvins.
say I'm a bigger fan of Primus, but live I'd rather see Primus
Yeah.
than Melvin.
Not a
I
fun.
would say.
Tommy the Cat. Hell yes. All right. How
My
about?
name is Mud. Yeah.
Yes. Fuck yes. How about Rollins Band versus Helmet?
You know, I saw them both in
Yeah.
San Antonio. Remember? I saw them, Rollins Band at the back room, and I mean, you know, if it was Rollins now, I mean, I'd be
Yeah.
like, well, but then it was Helmet now.
I'm going to go Helmet.
Helmet. Okay. Cool.
I gotta go Rollins Band on that one, dude. Only because, like, it to me, like, it was kind of like, man, especially if they
We're
had,
talking about going in right now to it. These shows are
Yeah.
happening right now.
Right
Next
now?
week, I'm going to Helmet. I'm not
Yeah.
going to listen
Yeah.
to Henry Rollins talk between songs. And
Right.
talk
We don't
during
need
the
all
song.
that.
Fuck you. Like, fuck you, guy. Like,
Yeah.
just play the fucking song.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where we're gonna probably differ on that one.
All
But I
right.
did like Helmet. I do like Helmet, but Rollins Band today.
Rollins Band.
Yeah.
One more for the win.
Oh, shit.
Last one. Led Zeppelin versus Black Sabbath.
It's Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, man, that's rough.
Why? I know you got more. Let's do some more. Can we
No,
write down some?
we're actually we
Shit.
got
No time, guy.
we got 1 minute.
Yeah.
We're in the last minute. Here.
All right.
I'm going to go Sabbath.
Sabbath, Zeppelin, Sabbath.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for playing Draw the Line with me tonight.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We should do this again sometime.
We should do it again,
Oh,
man. This
fuck
is
yeah.
long overdue.
Yeah.
Man, I had a great time tonight. Nathan,
Mm.
Jerry, thanks for being my guest on tonight's show. Remember, everybody, G's Given this Wednesday, House of Rock, 6:30 starting time.
Doors open at 6:30.
Yeah.
I think we have opening bands at 7.
Opening bands at 7,
Fire
6:30.
Ashes.
What's the charge at the door?
It's a free show, but it's a $10
Donation.
the suggested donation. And you can go online at texashouserock.com and donate by buying tickets.
By buying tickets.
Yeah, like,
just
hey, I
like
want
that.
to donate $50. We'll buy
Yeah.
5 tickets.
Buy 5 tickets. Exactly.
It all goes to Chris Garcia's mom.
We love you. Thanks for tuning in tonight at the Tony Gomez Show. We'll see you